Welcome to another episode of Bussin' with the Boys. Whether you're watching myself on YouTube right now, Rumble, wherever you get your podcast, Spotify, Apple, Google, doesn't matter. Do us a favor and simply hit the subscribe button. It helps us out a lot, and we love you. If you want to support the boys, that's how you support the boys. You can also support us at bwtb.com. We have all of our new merch out. You can buy this hat. I don't think these shirts are out yet, but they will be coming soon. But we have a lot of good merch, a lot of Father's Day merch coming up with the girl dad stuff and everything in between. But bwtb.com, this is an awesome episode. We interview Coach Lanning. That'll come later in the episode for all the Oregon fans tuning in. And again, if you're from Oregon right now, we love you guys. I feel like in Oregon too, it's the one spot to where we're on like a very far away place, but it feels like everybody messes with Bussin' with the Boys. So if you enjoy Bussin' with the Boys, make sure you subscribe to our channel. Again, Lanning will come later, but at the top, we dive into UFC 314 and our boy Michael Chandler. We talk about the Masters. We dive deep on the Nico situation that went on at Tennessee over the weekend. We recap our Oregon trip this past week. There's going to be a lot of new content coming out. A vlog this week that we did at Oregon. We're going to be going to Michigan today. We're on Michigan's land today. So check out all that new content at Bussin' WTB on all social channels. Enjoy this episode. It's a banger. You're going to love it. Again, make sure you subscribe. Big hugs, tiny kisses. Shout out the boys.
All right, we're good.
Be like, bussin' with the boys, hanging with the fellas, betting on a game. No woman's gonna tell us what to do, and I've been over here just drinking beer and making that noise. Baby, I'm hanging with the fellas, bussin' with the boys.
Bro.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Bussin' with the Boys. Fire episode today. Dan Lanning, the boys traveled out to Oregon, spoke with him. Well-spoken man, the stage presence of an absolute god. This is episode 324, and we are sponsored by Bussin' with the Boys is presented by FanDuel Sportsbook. FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Listen, we're getting closer and closer to football season, but right now the NHL playoffs and the NBA playoff time, so we're locked in. In this podcast, we're going to break down all of UFC 314. Obviously, we had Paddy Pimblett do what he did to our boy Mike Chandler. We love him to death. We're always going to love Mike, but what happens, happens. You can't hide from the film.
Shout out John Silva.
John Silva. We'll break all that down too.
Animal.
Volk Lopez. What a fight. Volk showing that age is just a number, dude. That ain't nothing to him. But we have the NBA play-in tournament. Will Compton, break down the tournament for us.
All right, so the NBA play-in tournament, how does it work, you might be thinking? Game 1 is the 7th seed versus the 8th seed. The winner becomes the 7th seed and advances to the playoffs. The loser gets another chance because Game 2, there will be a face-off between the 9th seed and the 10th seed. The loser is eliminated. The winner moves on to play in a Game 3 versus the loser, the number 8 of Game 1. The winner becomes the 8th seed in the playoffs, and the loser is eliminated. Why does that matter? Because there is big news. There's going to be FanDuel tokens and boosts all week long. You can score even a bigger win because FanDuel is giving you a 50% profit boost
50%
for each night of the play-in tournament. 50% on Tuesday, 50% boost on Wednesday, and a 50% boost on Friday. Sign up at FanDuel.com/bussin to get your boost, and remember to make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA and the boys. Yours truly, Bussin' with the Boys. Did you see our new outfits?
I did. I saw the little sleeve covers. These are very nice.
They are.
Boys are making it up in the world. Shout out the boys getting this all done for us.
Actually, shout out Evan Koob for sending them to the boys.
Evan
Shit.
Koob.
Evan Koob.
He keeps popping up.
Keeps on popping up.
He keeps flashing on the film.
You see him do a podcast?
I saw the clip.
I saw the clip
saw
as
the
well.
clip.
I actually commented on the clip. Like this, I will confirm. Can confirm. He's trying to get a job with us.
Yeah.
I feel like at some point we just got to hire him.
It may be.
He's so juiced watching this.
Oh, yeah.
So juiced. He's like, oh my God, I'm about to get a job with the boys.
But
shout out you, Evan, for sending those.
If you just take the camera and scan around the bus, what works against them is we need some variety on this bus.
Yeah, we need a little diversity.
Yeah.
And here's the thing too, and this is a safe space where I can say how I feel, right?
Of course, safe space.
Go
safe
ahead.
space.
Always.
I love Evan Koob's enthusiasm. I worry about Evan Koob's fandom a little bit. If he were to come into this office, like I just worry that he's like a true tier 1. Like he's so about the boys that it's like, is that going to get in the way of the work?
But you want people who come in and work
Who want to die for the brand.
Be about the boys.
I
and
get
they
it.
know the background, the history, everything about it to where they know what they're looking for when creating for it.
I love that. And I don't disagree with that at all. I will say it's a fine line though, because you can have someone that's willing to die for the brand. And then there's somebody who has, a weird dream where they think God told them to kill Will Compton and Taylor Lewan. And all of a sudden they come in the office with a sawed up shotgun. They pump 2 into us.
Yeah.
So there's always that little back and forth, right? Now for the NBA tournament plan,
I was about to say
6:30 Hawks versus Magic. That is tomorrow. 9 p.m.
Yeah, talk
Grizzlies
about those
versus the
teams.
Warriors. Wednesday we're gonna have the Heat versus the Bulls at 6:30, and at 9 we're gonna have the Mavs versus the Kings. Now I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I know basketball because I really do not know basketball.
You're not JJ Redick.
I'm not JJ Redick. I will say, however, give me the Kings over the Mavs.
Yeah.
I'll say give me the Kings over the Mavs. I don't know if it was Jason Kidd. Was it that? Is he the head coach?
He is.
He's the head coach, and he came out saying, "Oh yeah, people were talking about the trade. They're comparing it to the Great Bambino, saying like so that's pretty cool, buddy.
Yeah.
Widely considered the worst trade in sports history.
Yeah.
So just for that reason and that clip alone, I will be going Kings in that game.
Smart.
All right?
And make sure you put that 50% profit boost token because it's running every day
probably.
this week.
I'll be going Kings because when we make quotes about that is just insane to me.
Yeah,
That
I'm
is
with you.
insane to me.
I'm with you on the basketball court.
We want to rip the Band-Aid off with UFC 314?
Yeah, I mean, you can't, nothing you can hide from.
Right.
Mike he got dominated that fight. Paddy Pimblett looked incredible.
Yeah.
He looked poised for the moment. He looks like he's in a great time situation for how that weight class looks, a little aged, but he did. It's like if you look at all of Mike's fights against all these top ranked opponents, Paddy Pimblett has looked the best against Michael Chandler.
Yeah.
It was tough, man. It was tough to watch because that's our boy.
Yeah, it's our guy.
It's like Missouri boy. He's like a
and there's
brother to us, and you're nervous for him for the fight.
Mm-hmm.
You see Bree, his wife, and his son Hap walking in the arena with him. Like you're fired up, but your juices are flowing. It like reminds me of when I was watching Cody back with all of his big wrestling matches. You're just nervous. You're like moving with the screen.
You want to be in there with him.
Yeah.
And there's a level of guilt that I have too because we're obviously in the middle of spring tour right now. We just went to Oregon. We're going to Michigan tomorrow. And like we had this small little time with the family, but even on Saturday morning, Taylor and I like we should be in Miami right now to be supporting the Chandlers. And so you just don't want your boy to ever go to war alone. And I just watching him walk out like Paddy Pimblett when he walked out of the tunnel looked loose, looked ready to go. Like he was just having a good time, being like his charismatic self that people love him for and also hate him for. But then as soon as he gets in the octagon, it's like he's doing the Alex Pereira stare down. He seems so locked into the moment when he's had that big gap between fights. And he just seemed like he was more prepared, seemed like he had a better game plan, and he seemed like he executed that game plan just a little bit better. It sucks saying that about your boy, but you got to look at the film and realize, and Mike would be sitting here right now saying the same thing. Mm-hmm. Mike doesn't shy away from the truth ever. And it's unfortunate, but it is also the reality we're living in right now. So you just wonder like, what's next for Mike?
The most heartbreaking part of the fight was when Mike, I don't know which round it was, but he goes back to his corner. They're like, Mike, you got to start going side to side, get out of the way.
Right. Stop going straight ahead.
And he's like, I can't find the distance. I can't get close. And so then it goes over to Paddy's corner, and Paddy's coaches say, hey, he's going slow. And you just hear Paddy go, yeah, he's a bit old, isn't he? And then it cuts away. I was like, oh my gosh.
Damn, I didn't even hear that.
Yeah.
He looked good, man. Like I've enjoyed watching Paddy. Like when he came into the UFC, like all of his fights, he's somebody that's like a superstar in the media too because he has that incredible accent. But I've always enjoyed following him. But he was on that night, bro.
He was in flow state.
I would have loved to seen him against anybody in the division that night.
Yeah,
just because it feels like he's
wins.
primed for that stage, and you're going to get to see if his skill set will carry over. Because you would assume he's going to get a big opportunity in his next fight.
Yeah. I didn't hear that soundbite. Like when I'm watching this fight, I'm in my that room with that big couch. I'm kind of like I'm walking around. I'm like looking. I'm trying to like move with him. I'm like so invested in it. And Taylor's just sitting on the couch like chilling on our phone. I'm just like, it's tough, man.
I wonder too, and this is just full speculation on my end because seeing Mike's knee in the fight in December, and then to fight in April, it all seems so fast to me for somebody his age that. I mean, I would never make excuse. He would never make an excuse.
would
But
never
I
make
am
an
curious about like his body and if he was 100% or he just really couldn't find the distance because we didn't see any of the explosiveness that you usually see in the Mike fights.
Right. Because when he's sitting the pre-fight press conferences, he's like, I'm going to find that chin. I'm going to find it fast. I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, this is going to be different than the Oliveira fight.
Yeah.
And he kind of came out similar to the Oliveira fight where he's like playing more in a defensive stance.
Right.
And, you know, he gets a couple of good takedowns. He does the whole body, throws him to the ground. It's like, all right. And I know that boy can wrestle too. And it just didn't seem like he could find a flow in that fight. And obviously we're not fighters. We don't necessarily know the ins and outs, but he just seemed uncomfortable.
Yeah.
In the octagon.
Last thing for me on Mike, where he does need his credit, the way that he's able to defend on the ground is so insane to me. Like, I cannot believe Paddy didn't tap him out.
In the last two fights, this was Oliveira too.
I mean,
it's like he's in
is.
these bad situations and he just gets out of
every
them.
single time. Oh, Mike's giving up his back. And it's like, he's the only fighter that can just roll over. Everybody else is going to get tapped out, but he can roll over, give up his back, and he knows he's going to be fine. Which is
so
an
crazy.
insane skill.
Yeah.
My question too, because again, I have no clue. Like I know some surface level stuff, but when he's mounted and gives up his back, it's like, what else can you do in that situation? Because the dude was starting to throw bombs on him.
Yeah.
Right.
And you're
He's in that
defending
12
like the
to
only
6.
thing.
Like,
I feel like the only thing you can do is just roll to the other side unless you can get
Just
some
keep
bridge
rolling.
that kind of bounces him off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, it's just tough.
It was hard, man. And it sucks too because the octagon, it's like, it's one-on-one.
Mm-hmm.
And when that's happening, and obviously you got all the external noise, everybody commenting on the fight and everything else, but when you lose in the octagon, bro, it has to be such like a lonely feeling, whatever your conversation is with yourself. You know what I mean? Because it's like, I'll shoot him a text, brother, I love you, keep your fucking head up. You kind of don't know what to say, and you know everybody's going to be texting him, but it's, you know, as a competitor, like when you just had a bad showing, like you don't care to hear about any of the noise, anything else. You're just so disappointed in how it unfolded.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're your own harshest critic too.
Yeah.
Like you walk in and immediately, I mean, I don't know what his mental state was right after that fight. He got beat up pretty good, but like you're literally replaying the fight over and over and over in your head. Like I could have done this different and that different. And everyone's going to have like, you know, the big broad statements of you lost in this way. But he is probably looking at every single detail being like, I know exactly where I went wrong. It's so easy to fix those problems after the fact.
Yeah.
And it's just tough, man.
Don't write him off though. Don't write him off.
Don't write him off. Chael Sutton.
Tip of the cap to Paddy though.
After all the fights and everything, Chael Sutton, you know, there was a lot of back and forth of like, was that the last time we see Michael Chandler? Obviously, Mike's the one that made that decision, but Chael Sutton's like, they rushed him out of the octagon pretty fast. I'm thinking it was a medical thing.
Right.
But Chael's like, if this is the last time we see Michael Chandler, you would have hoped, you know, to give him the credit he deserves. I have no idea if that's his last fight.
I mean,
I have no idea.
shot. As a fan, no shot. That's his last fight.
Right?
From the business aspect, where would he go from here?
I don't know. That's something that's Hunter.
You know what I mean? Because
Hunter.
He's been in the
Hunter,
fights.
tell us, what's he going to do
He's been in
next?
the fights with like top 5 guys to where he's kind of always set up or positioned well. Like if he comes out on top, he'll have like a better shot at potentially going after the belt. But now that he's dropped a few, and especially in the fashion that he did against Paddy, it's almost like where would he go that even at his age too would even be worth it for him?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
How you position him? How do you, like, for Dana or Hunter, like sell him in a fight where it's like, yeah, but he keeps losing, like,
Right.
to your point, like,
Even for Mike too, it's like, you know, being realistic about where the category might be to where you fight next at his age and what he's already accomplished. Like what is even worth going back into the octagon?
Someone asked Dana, and he was like, you know, like, no matter what fight it is, who he's fighting, like he's gonna show out.
Yeah.
So like Dana obviously believes in him. So like there is that good thing that Mike's a showman and always puts on.
Right. But having him on the bus, knowing what he puts into it and knowing the sacrifice now that his family's bigger and everything else, he's going to put on a show. But to put on that show, you have to go in this space mentally for 8 to 12 weeks that he always does. It's like even as Mike's sitting there again, I'm sure he'll be on the bus at some point. But what even at that point, what becomes worth it to put on that type of show if you're not going to be getting a shot that's kind of close in that realm? Because now he's gone through enough fights to where I don't know where he'll be ranked, but would he even get a shot against an opponent that he feels like a worthy opponent?
And just from like from Dana's statement of being like, hey, every fight we put him in, it's an absolute show. Like this fight we looked at, this was not a performance of like Mike Chandler. We were like, holy shit, like you can see the victories. Like the Oliveira fight, like he lost those first 4 rounds and then came back in that 5th round and he won that 5th round. However, it was too far gone by that point. But at the end, when he's doing, landing him on his back and he's like showing something like, yo, this is why you watch a Michael Chandler fight. Objectively speaking, there was nothing in that fight where you're like, this is why you watch a Michael Chandler fight. And so something just seemed like maybe it was the knee, maybe it was something mental, but like something was definitely off with Mike.
In the lightweight division, I think a fun fight would be Fiziev. They wouldn't be like main events, but it would be on a pay-per-view and it would be in the main card. And Fiziev is still good. Like he's a fun, exciting fighter that has quality losses and quality wins, which I think would be a banger fight.
Yeah.
I'm getting sick of Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
I'm getting sick. I'm interested in the Paddy Pimblett. Like, bro, you just said you're running for like Ireland's president, whatever y'all have over there.
I think he's got a gambling sponsor.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Paddy probably don't want to fight Conor. He's got bigger
I wonder
things.
who Paddy's going to go against next. Because, again,
to Poirier, right?
He wants to fight Topuria, but I don't know, man. I think I would love to see him fight Dustin Poirier, even though the big thing is Dustin versus Justin right now.
Yeah.
But I think Dustin Poirier, like in his last fight, I feel like Poirier would want it because to put the gloves down after beating the guy that the UFC is trying to push to the title would be the ultimate Dustin Poirier ending to his story.
Yeah.
It's like he never really got that unified belt, but he for sure isn't going to let some new guy step over him to go get it.
Right. And he's on a how much winning streak? 8 fight win streak?
He dismantled that guy from France
Paddy?
last year in Miami.
Yeah.
Dismantled him. So
Because like I know our bias on the bus, it's like something could be off with Mike, but I don't want it to take away from how
Right.
good of a performance Paddy had.
yeah, Paddy it was incredible.
Because I am excited to see who he might get paired up with next. Because he looked good, man. He looked in shape. He didn't, he was doing interviews before the fight on the whole
Huge.
Yes.
fatty Paddy.
And if he still is minimal day, like maybe we see him quickly.
Justin.
Yeah.
Yeah, his accent, he's got to have.
Justin.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask JP, was that Paddy's like typical weight class that he fights in? Because he looked massive.
He did
looked
look
huge.
big,
He
bro.
looked good.
It looked crazy in there.
Yeah.
Those rows too.
Yeah.
And how long he hadn't fought in what, 2 years? Was it?
Yeah, 2 years, I think.
And he didn't blow up the way he has in the past.
Right.
Because what they're talking about is the
He's
whole
got his
fatty
twins
Paddy
now.
stuff, Paddy the fatty. Yeah. And who knows if in his mind he knows this is a moment to where he could capitalize and maybe his focus is just on a different.
Yeah,
Well, he's 30
Dana
years
was saying in
old.
the post press conference, like he was like everything's all about timing, and Paddy seems like he's finding the timing right now. Because you watch that fight, and because people were saying Paddy's like it's like a gimmick, it's all like no one was taking Paddy seriously, but after that fight, you take him seriously because it was impressive. It was impressive.
I mean, he's 30 years old, so you got to figure like these next 3 to 4 years that's when you have to go all in.
You got to go.
You have to lock in.
Right. John Silva, dude.
I love that fucking guy.
He is incredible.
Hey, when he's next to Bruce Buffer, just starts barking in the mic.
Yeah, barking in the mic.
This dude's a psycho. And then he's barking at every chance he gets. And then when he chokes Buddy out, Bryce Mitchell out, and dude's like eyes open, unconscious, and he's standing over him barking him. Like, that is Old Testament.
Dude was convulsing.
Savage, yeah.
He choked him out so fast too. Like he
was like playing around with him. It seemed like in the beginning.
Well, even
just
in the
like,
first round, like
smiling.
he
Yeah.
walked out there. He's talking shit. He's moving away from all the punches, like also taking minimal damage and just fucked Buddy up.
4 straight
Fucked him
finishes.
up, bro.
And I guess this dude, Silva was like begging for this fight.
Yeah.
Got the fight. It was basically, I'm gonna kill this guy when we get in the ring. And
It looks so easy.
the moment seemed way too big for Bryce Mitchell. Like
Yeah.
Bryce felt the pressure that Silva was like coming in relaxed, like a man on
and
a
the
mission.
pressure he's probably created for himself with all the
He said some
all the
dumb shit.
podcasting and stuff.
He said
that
some stupid shit.
You saw Dave Portnoy out there.
Yes,
with the yarmulke
that is
on.
all fucking time.
trolling him.
Just screaming at him, Nazi.
Yeah.
That is
Nazi.
That is
Nazi.
crazy.
The corner looks back at him. He's like, "You're a Nazi."
Yeah, but Bryce, he made his bed, and Silva put him to sleep in it.
Hey, JP, is Silva? I was seeing too. It's like Bryce Mitchell was ranked like 11th or something like that. Like, is Silva not ranked?
Yeah, I don't think he is ranked. That was his first time fighting another ranked fighter or fighting a ranked fighter, but he's going to be ranked now because his 3 fights before this, he won them all by knockout. and now he gets this submission.
Dude, he looked good, man.
He looks
looked
amazing.
Great.
Insanely confident, relaxed, smiling.
Flow. It just
Kind of
looks
picking
flow.
the way he was
Yes.
going to beat him.
Yeah.
It just
It'd
seemed
be
like he was
fun.
sparring, just having a good time. He was practicing out there on Bryce Mitchell.
On the on FanDuel, I had Silva for a KO or TKO in every round because the odds were awesome.
Yeah.
And every time he got close to submitting, I'm like, no, fucking.
Dude, I had Silva in every round to win in that round.
You did it smarter.
Yeah, I
You
did.
did it way
So
smarter.
I got him plus 500 in the second round.
Taylor, so it was me, Taylor, and Clay. We were texting the group chat kind of how some of these fights would go, talking about what bets we're going to put in. Shout out FanDuel. And after the first round, it was like Silva to win in round 1, Silva to win in round 2, all the way through. And it was like plus 300, 500, 700. And Silva has the performance that he does in the first round. Taylor's in the group chat thinking if he just wins the first round, like by points.
Yeah, that's what I thought it
he felt
was.
like
I was
a
like,
plus
oh,
300
shit.
odds just
So
to win the first
I'm in the group
round.
chat like, hey, you guys thought he won that, right? Like you thought he won that, and then
Like,
Will
was
brings
like
to my
10-9.
attention that hey, it's to win, like it's over in that round.
Yeah,
Like, fuck.
he ends in the
Because
first
I thought
round.
I was hit a nice little plus 300 right there. I'm like
The favorite to win in
refreshing
the-
the app
yeah.
to see my settled bets. Like, got
the
him.
favorite to win by points in the
Yeah.
first round plus 300.
Wouldn't that be nuts?
Yeah, that'd be
But
so
when he
funny.
won in the second, I was kind of hoping to go to the third.
Yeah, I mean, look at this dude just barking over him.
Yeah.
Buddy is compulsive.
Barking, and he
tap-
put the
it
what are they
was
called?
quick.
Fight nerds.
Quick.
What are they called? Fight nerds.
What's that?
the glasses after
The
the,
glasses.
fight.
Yeah,
Oh,
there's like
yeah.
a group of them that all wear the glasses with the little thing in the
Yeah.
in the middle. But yeah, dude, he was incredible. And then Vulcan Lopez.
I didn't even. I'll be honest. I
Dude,
didn't watch the
But
fight.
real quick, the
I hopped on
Yari
PUBG and I
Pitbull
was just-
fight.
Yair
Chandler
Rodriguez
loses.
looked nice.
Bro, he looked insane.
And Pitbull came over from Bellator or whatever it was.
and the moment was way too big.
Way too
Those lights
big.
turned on, and he got stiff.
But just the size difference and seeing Rodriguez throw those kicks, it's like because Taylor before the fight, he's like, "Hey, I'm sprinkling some on Pitbull."
Yeah.
And then when they both started, I haven't seen either of them fight, but when they both started and Rodriguez was throwing those kicks, I'm like, Taylor took this little cat.
yeah, because Clay's in there like I like Pitbull's punches, blah blah. But Yair he can kick, and I'm thinking I'll just do this Pitbull.
He's
guy.
way too fast.
No idea what the guys even looked like.
Bro.
Then Yair comes in.
He's fun.
This dude, he looked like he was my height.
Yeah.
He is insanely
Yeah.
tall.
He's
he
fun
was
to
just
watch.
towering over this cat, and he was fluid, man.
Yeah.
He's like a rubber band out there. The way he was kicking, he was smooth. But he just put that kid apart. But the main event, Volk and Lopez, and we were talking last week about because we seen Lopez at the Sphere, and he was
Right.
nice. He was like whoever he fought before, he like crushed him. And then this fight's like Volk's getting old. Lopez, he might be the up and comer guy. This is a championship. Whoever wins this gets the belt. Volk looked nasty. He looked like the age was nothing to him.
Like nothing, dude. I think it was so cool because Diego did get better as the fight went on a little bit, but it just shows the difference in that experience makes for these guys.
Right.
Because Diego just kind of flies around out there, throws so fast, kind of throws wild, throws these weird like
Get these paw print
like
punches.
paw punches, and you could see Volk. Most other fighters Diego probably beats, but Volk just understands the moment and knows how to fight. And it was just, man, it made me so happy because Volk's one of my favorite fighters, and to see him just do his thing. He almost got rattled a few times, but
He did get rattled a couple times. I mean, he was stepping backwards when he got banked that one time and went to
Yeah.
the ground. But like those first 2.5, 3 rounds, like Volk was owning Lopez and throwing shots that like shout out Lopez's chin.
yeah,
He was
he's
taking
young.
some crazy shots and would not go down because I did the same thing. Volk to win in round 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and didn't do the decision. And after that first round, I was sitting there like, oh yeah, this is another solid fucking bet.
Yeah,
And sure enough, dude, he just kept standing there, and then he started to get Volk a little bit. Like if that was 7 rounds,
right.
I mean, Lopez probably comes out and wins that thing,
Oh, I love-
or he starts in the third.
Yeah,
He starts that way in the first. Like Lopez probably wins because
Dude.
he's just taking shots
I
in the
love,
face and eating them and moving forward. It was crazy.
at the end though, when he's like telling Volk to stand in the middle and swing
Volk's
with him,
like,
it's
"Fuck yeah, fuck that."
why would he ever do that?
You thinking about Max Homa?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
bad
Holloway.
motherfucker belt.
Holloway, yeah, I'm thinking
Yeah.
Homa's the
Yeah.
golfer, but Max Holloway, they stand there in the middle and go toes, him and Gaethje.
Yeah.
But if I'm Volk, I'm like, fuck that. I
And
got
Volk
this thing in
did.
the
He was
back.
like, he like pointed, and then he just kind of kept going around.
yeah, yeah, toyed with him a little
Yeah.
bit. And I loved Volk's post-game press conference. Like, adversity is a gift. That was
Privilege.
a fucking bar, man.
Yeah, he
The way
did.
he
So
was talking.
him and Adesanya give like the best post-fight press conference.
And then
Or-
Australian accent too.
Yeah.
He says it and you're just kind of like, it just means a little bit more with that accent.
Yeah.
It means a little bit more. So it
Great
was
card.
solid, dude.
Great card.
I know. Yeah, I was trying to hit the reverse psychology with that Lopez tweet saying like, oh, he's got a cement chin, hoping that next round he get banked. But yeah, man, should we feel good about UFC? You guys, anybody want anything? You guys are solid. We're gonna up this episode to bring you Neutral. Have you tried Neutral? If not, boys, you're missing out. Neutral is so much better than any seltzer that I have personally ever tried. They come in with real vodka and real juice, and that's what makes it delicious. Neutral comes in a variety of flavors. We're talking pineapple,
What?
watermelon,
What?
orange,
What?
and new flavors, lime,
What?
and strawberry. Neutral is the perfect drink to bring when you're hanging with friends, and that thing is such a crowd pleaser. Neutral. Keep it tasty, boys. Let's get back to this episode. Let's move it forward. Let's talk. Let's get Jack McPherson on the mic. We got to talk about some college football.
Do we want to, by the time we go to the weekend, do we want to touch on the Masters?
What
Yeah,
a
we can-
win.
I mean, that
Yeah,
was
shout out
nuts,
Rory.
man.
What a win for Rory McIlroy.
It was fun to watch. Like knowing that I watched golf like one day of the year, and it's always the championship of the Masters. And knowing the storylines going into it, it's like you got him and Bryson paired up. You got some guys who's going to finish in the top 10. Shout out Homa. Shout out Homa, just being in the run, especially the way
Being
he's
in the
been playing.
mix.
Yeah, being in the mix. But it's like Rory, all this stuff about him choking. And again, that last round was a lot of roller coasters. Even that last putt in the last hole.
I mean, the first hole yesterday, Rory doubles, Bryson pars. Now they're even.
Yeah, just like that out of the gate.
Out of the gate,
Starts
you're
off
like,
minus
here we
12
go.
and then goes to minus 10 quick.
Oh yeah, I walked away from the TV for 1 second. They're on hole 4, and it's like 4 different things have changed. Roy's back to like 12 or 11 under. Bryson's at 9, and then you're like, oh, okay, we're in one.
Yeah.
And then coming out of the weeds, Justin Rose.
Justin Rose.
How'd he start off the day? What was he at? Minus 5 or 6?
Yeah, he was like 6 back, and we talked about it last week, but there's only been 4 people to ever win the Masters after leading the first day. And when he started coming back, I was like, no shit. Like, here we go.
Yeah.
I kind of forgot about him. But Rory showed a lot of composure that I don't think he's gotten the better side of in recent matches and like
Right.
years. And for him to battle the adversity, know the pairing with Bryson is just like added tension. The fans love Bryson. So like if it comes down the stretch, which side are they going to pull for? The crowd? Like, are they going to be like, Bryson's a showman, like he's balling, let's go? Or are they going to side with Rory, who's going for the career Grand Slam?
It felt like he
And
had a lot of the crowd, bro. They were hyped.
Once
Rory.
once Bryson started falling off, everyone was like, okay, we understand the assignment.
Yeah.
We got to get Rory to this finish.
Because even again, he had moments where I forget what hole it was, where he goes in the bunker. And again, I want to say I had a tweet like he should be going full Happy Gilmore because you could tell he was very pissed at himself that he had that shot. But it's like all the external noise of choking that weighs in on those high pressure moments for him to win that story this time.
Yeah.
And 2, it's like Justin Rose, he finished it like what was it, 2 holes before Rory got done and hit a massive putt to sit at minus 10.
Minus 11.
Minus 10, minus 11.
Minus 11.
And it was Rory was ahead there, and it was just like his match to kind of fuck up or to lose. And he
Right.
got down to where he ends up
Two-putting.
missing that 2-putting at the end
yeah.
and going into that playoff to where Justin kind of has all the momentum.
Yeah.
And they come out on top and witness that moment when he does hit it. He starts crying, he
amount
starts
of-
walking, everybody cheering for him.
Oh yeah.
Embraces the family.
You were
Yeah.
talking about like standing up watching the fights, like in your living room. The nerves I felt for Rory hitting the first putt on 18 to potentially win outright was like my hands were shaking. I'm
Dude.
like, how do you stand? First off, how do you pipe one down the fairway, hit it into the bunker, and
Yeah.
then have to walk to the bunker going, all right, I know I can hit this shot. There's plenty of room. I have a great lie. But then for the ball to kind of check up a little bit like it did, not get as close to the hole as you would like it to leave.
But still a great shot out of the
6 foot
bunker.
Great
just
shot.
like the scariest 6-foot putt of all time, or however long it was.
I know, dude.
Standing over that, I would throw up.
the
I'm
nerves
knocking
of
it
that
down.
is
But my legs would be shaking.
because I popped it on when he was walking to the bunker after that bunker shot, and then I'm realizing how close of a match this is. And when he pops it up, I'm thinking about how do I feel right now in my living room watching this? How I can't imagine how he feels. And when he misses. And that pans over to Rose, who's just on the green, and he just goes up to his caddy and goes, like, kind of like, all
Yeah,
right,
he
let's
gets the thumbs
fucking
up.
do this.
Yeah.
taps it in, and they go. I'm getting goosebumps right now because I'm sitting there like, you guys know my stance on golf. I'm not like a huge golf guy. The outfits, all that. This moment was massive. Watching them both get on the tee box at 18, being like, whoever wins this hole wins the Masters, gets this jacket. I'm a green jacket, gold jacket, who gives a shit type of guy. Right. But in this moment, I'm thinking, we got to get this green fucking jacket. Go on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Rip
that was
over
a great
Rory.
Play for you.
I took Justin Rose.
And so
it's
tough
all right.
weekend. But hey,
but I didn't hit on one bet.
That prevailed Rory to win.
To Will's bet, like just that thought process is, I had the same thing go over my head. Like, okay, Rory just missed this putt to win the Masters, and I'm seeing all these things about him like kind of choking a little bit. Maybe it is Justin Rose's time. But then I just saw the odds. Momentum. I just saw the odds minus 140. I was like, let me just go with Rory. I know the name more than I know Rose's. Right. So I'm just going to go with Rory. I end up working out.
Rose is a legend. He's been around forever.
Yeah, but it sucks that he's always the bridesmaid and never the bride.
For sure.
Like, just brutal.
I just pulled it up for that point exactly. He did take home $2.3 million to come in second.
But
hey, did you see?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Josh Allen.
People who go to the Masters, like Caitlin Clark was talking about, she was doing an interview saying how that's the coolest event because of how unique it is. It's just how many people are sitting around every hole, especially that last shot in the moment, because nobody can have phones. Like everybody's just in the moment. It's quiet. You see the crowd erupt after, or they get upset when their guy misses a shot. It has to be so sick.
Yeah.
And the pressure that these guys feel.
We got to go one day next year. Gotta go.
Yeah, that would be wild. Can't document anything, which to your point is awesome, but for our sake would be like,
for the business, not great.
But
I do think that makes it, that would be that much more just special. Like as a crew, if we go, or if when our kids get old enough, you take them, you see like these parents who take their kids, and just the lure of golf.
Oh yeah,
in those high stakes moments.
It's like how
there can't be. I think I'm confident enough to say that I don't think there's a high pressure moment that would match the Masters, like on the last hole, like that Rory and those guys are feeling on the last hole, any moment in any sport.
Let me just pop one out real quick.
It's you versus you.
What about,
it really is for 4 days.
Fourth quarter, 2 seconds on the clock, 35-yard line. You got to kick a field goal to win the Super Bowl.
Maybe for the kicker. Like,
I mean, that's got to be. That's got
right.
like
noise too. Like
yeah,
they're
not like yelling while you're putting. Right. You imagine. But
there's part of me that thinks the silence with that many people around
deafening
would almost be a little bit more.
You start.
Yeah.
I bet you hear your heartbeat in that moment.
Yeah, for the kicker.
And also, hey, like if you have a massive bet on, right, and you got Rose, and you took him in the before the thing even started, and he could win it, and you're in that crowd, and exactly, why not just hit a
jackass?
And also the field goal's
like,
massive.
Why not?
The field goal's massive. Like finding the line in that little ass hole, bro.
It's crazy.
That's a good comparison.
I did hit a crazy bet. Pick Rory to win on before they started the tournament, and then we picked. Did you get in on it with the top fives?
No.
Scotty to finish top 5, Rory to finish top 5, Bryson to finish top 5, and then Ludwig Auberg to finish top 10. Patrick Reed hits a hole-in-one on 16 to bump Bryson to 6. And Ludwig's in top 5, and I'm like, no fucking way this is going to happen. Ludwig triples 18 to fall just enough to bump Bryson back up to 5 and him to finish in the top 10.
So you hit.
Out. Oh, yeah.
Dog, let's go.
Nice
That's
hit.
a bet right there.
And Reed, too, that one that skipped in the hole.
Yeah.
That was nuts, and he didn't even know it went in the hole. It like bounced and went straight into the cup.
No shit.
Yeah.
Dude.
And he's like sitting there.
Cost him $560,000.
The what?
The triple that he had on 18, Auberg, it cost him $500,000.
Sick.
Hey, think about Rory too. Not only green jacket, but there's a nice payday.
Nice payday. Think about the endorsements that are going to come as well.
That's true too.
Hey,
like
the Nike video though,
with the kicker thing, like there's not those financials in play too. I don't even know if they're thinking about it. They might be, but
incentives would be like the closest.
Yeah.
thing,
Would you be thinking? Did you ever have incentives at all when you played?
No.
Hell yeah.
And so guys never, I mean, I guess guys think about it like week 17 or week 18 when there were 17 games. They're like, hey, I need 3 catches. You see Gronk, he like needed 1 more and a couple of yards, right? And Brady like kind of gave him a little flat route. But I think when it comes to those moments in sports, no one's thinking about money.
Not the first.
You're thinking about it if you're in 20th place.
You're thinking about
Yeah.
legacy. Exactly.
Or if-
when you have nothing to do, you're like, hey, maybe if I can get to 18 from
Or if you're in the
20,
middle
I
of
can
that
make
triple
200,000
bogey.
more.
There's like
After
8
you miss the
people.
second one, you're like, fuck, I'm losing money at this
Yeah,
point.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
And you know you're kind of out of it at this point.
Well,
Yeah,
especially because in
yeah.
golf, you can be like you can hold a sole position in the leaderboard. So you could be like sole 7th. But if you drop a stroke, you're tied for 8th with like 10 people. And then the money split is just so fucked.
The split's disgusting, I bet.
But shout out Rory. That's amazing.
Rory's dinner is about to be so mid next year, though.
Yeah, it's
Bro, someone's got to get it.
That
Someone's got to
Irish
take
dinner.
Roy to Arizona and get him on Zips. If he can just have those wings, man. And by the way, Zips DM me on Instagram.
Let's go.
Nice.
Said, hey, appreciate you shouting out Zips, blah, blah, blah. He's sending all Zips is sending us all like shirts and stuff like that.
We need a gift card, man.
For real. What's that? Zip offs. Nice. I see you with that. I had one more thing. Oh, dude. So for whatever reason I put that bet in, and then all of a sudden my algorithm goes to golf all the rest of yesterday. And learning about the Masters and how they operate, how they don't have, like the Mercedes-Benz 15th hole or all this. They keep everything so pure. They're essentially walking away from hundreds of millions of dollars. Like even with like the product, they make sure everything goes into the production of it. No phones. The food's like $1.65 for a turkey sandwich. Like
Yeah.
that shit is awesome. That is so cool how they keep like the purity of golf in that.
And everyone who goes, it's like it still exceeds their high expectations.
Right.
Well, they make like, what is it, like $1 million every hour in the pro shop. So that's how they make all their money back, because that's the only spot you can get Masters gears in that pro shop. That's not online.
No
or
way.
anything. So they
That's
make all their
cool.
Oh,
money
that's cool.
on that.
That is
Go in
cool.
and buy like thousands of dollars worth and then go resell it. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw the tickets themselves. Like when you buy the tickets, like $450 to $500 for like a couple day pass. Yeah, reselling is like $10,000,
No shit.
which is just
But we're
crazy.
going.
Yeah, but we're going.
I got to go to
I
the
might sell them
women's
tickets.
amateur.
It's like the Super Bowl tickets.
Yeah.
No.
I got to
we
go
never did that.
to the women's amateur last year, and the store opens during the women's amateur for the Masters. So we're walking in break of dawn, like 6:30, and there are hundreds of people sprinting past us with gardening gnomes, like Masters branded gardening gnomes, so that they can resell it online. And we get into the store, and the line was already 3 hours long. And like the Masters tournament hasn't even started. It's not even the practice round. It's the women's amateur. You have a 3 hour line for the shot. It's nuts.
That is crazy.
Week and a half to rake it in.
That is nuts.
But yeah, another big story of the weekend, college football. Nico.
Buddy. Yeah, which one do we want to hit?
Let's just hit him after. We get him after and then just plug him in.
Yeah, that's fine. Let's do that.
Nobody is bigger than the team.
Nobody is bigger than the team.
Nobody.
Just take a round of applause.
Literally, shout out Josh Heupel. Nico Iamaleava is a absolute coward. He's ruining the game. I hate NIL now, but I understand it's a business. But to have the season you did and to get your dick kicked in against Ohio State in the playoffs and then to ask for $4 million a year and not to be showing up to spring practices, I'm so glad the way that Tennessee handled this. And to not even address it or not even to acknowledge it and to just dismiss Nico from the team, it says a lot. It was awesome to see like the support across Twitter throughout the nation, everyone kind of taking Josh Heupel's back, because we're just in this Wild West era of like these kids who want more money and they want more everything, but they're not putting it on paper and they're not winning the games you need them to. I couldn't be happier. We are in a pickle. We have 2 quarterbacks on our roster right now, Jake Merklinger and George McIntyre, who are both very inexperienced quarterbacks, but we also have a guy coming in, which doesn't help us this year, but 2026, Faison Brandon, who's the #1 prospect in all of college football, who's committed to Tennessee. That's like a positive, but what Tennessee football needs to do is pick up someone in the transfer portal who's an experienced quarterback who can come in and make these other 2 kids, McIntyre and Merklinger, like fight for it and also learn behind them. And then we also have this kid coming in 2026. So I'm hoping we get a veteran, experienced guy in the portal. Obviously, we don't want him coming in the SEC because you'll have to sit a year if you transfer in your conference. But I'm so happy the way that Tennessee handled this situation. It was chaotic. I was in Knoxville this weekend for a wedding, so like felt like it was even closer to home. But everyone seems like they're on it. I mean, even Tony Vitello had an interview after one of their games yesterday. They played Ole Miss, and he was saying whether it's football or baseball or basketball, don't come to this university asking for handouts. He goes, that's not what we're about. Right. And so like just across the board, everyone has the support of Heupel, and I bet Nico will probably go to the West Coast because that's where he's from. He's from California, but man, it fired me up too hearing about Coach Lanning, where we just were. He apparently, the rumors were spreading that he warned Heupel that Nico is reaching out to a bunch of people and trying to get offers and feel the waters. So to hear that there's some coaches out there who still believe in the game, it was a good feeling.
I thought it was wild too. Did you see Josh Pate's clip? He was doing a show, and he was talking like there's Tennessee guys, like Nico being one of them, who are trying to leverage, hey, they're playing extra games in the playoffs, so they want more money because the structure that they currently have is like 12. You might play a conference title, but then going into the playoffs, there were players coming in trying to leverage that to say they should be getting paid more per game.
And that's why we didn't go to the playoffs.
Yeah, maybe that's why we didn't go to the playoffs.
Hey, shout out Tennessee.
I'm fired up. It feels good to be a fan just for Heupel to just stand on business and say this is not about financials. It obviously is, and it will always be an aspect of the game now that we're in this NIL era. But for him to just completely shut down our Nico was the highest paid NIL athlete ever as of right now. They gave him $8 million for 4 years. They're giving him $2.4 million a year, and he wants $4 million now. I just don't think it's a good look, too, for your future, for the future of your college career, going into the pros. It just shows that you're difficult to work with, and that obviously it's more about yourself than it is the team. I don't know. What do y'all think if you're playing in there and y'all's starting quarterback wants that? Are you pissed at him, or do you kind of understand it because you want to get as much money as you can because now we're in this weird era? But I mean, if I'm a player, especially if I'm an O-lineman and my guy all of a sudden bounces out, doesn't tell anyone, doesn't show up to spring practices the day before the orange and white game, I don't know. It just seems like coward-esque.
Yeah, I'd be tight about it as a teammate, as a player. I think it's so hard because it's such a Wild West. Like people, it's like you don't want to fault Nico. You don't want to fault it. Like it's like what the NCAA has created because there are no boundaries. And we're in a capitalist world. We're in a capitalist society. You want everybody to earn what they want to earn, like while they have these windows of opportunity. But I think for me, it sucks to see because the mentality and commitment that the game breeds into life, like in all of it, is like getting lost because you're so consumed by what's my value? What can my value be in the market? I want everybody to get paid. I want the player, like if I'm a player, to me, it's like, yes, I want to get paid and there's going to be a range, right? There might not be an exact dollar amount, but if you're with a school and they're hitting your range, whether or not you're flirting with other schools or other opportunities, but after that, it's like, you listen to John Gruden's speech, the whole about the team, like guys are missing on thinking about and pouring into the team. But if I'm a teammate and I know my quarterback is getting $2.5 million, a shitload of money, it's like, hey, can you operate? Are you at a school with all the resources necessary to make it to the big leagues? Because every kid, their dream is to play professional football. Mm-hmm. And we're now in a world where you can now get paid in college. But if it's all about you want to get to the next level, you're at a school to where you have all the resources, you have a team around you, you have the coaching staff, you have everything you need to be successful at life and to set you up for the next level. Like if they're hitting your range of money, it's like, what are we bitching about? And if you're so worried about making the $4 million, it is like if I'm a teammate, I'm me in the locker room or whatever, I'm thinking to myself or whatever group of leadership that you're around, you're sitting there with the coach, be like, yeah, get him out of here. Because you want guys who are committed to the fucking team. You're getting paid well. I know everybody wants their market value. I know everybody wants to leverage and do all the things they can to optimize their moment of time because they might not get paid any more money. But bro, you're already getting paid. These college athletes, you're getting paid. You're getting fairly compensated. It's like at that point, man, you need the guys in the locker room and you need the culture that is all about winning a championship. Because if you win a championship, it's all going to trickle down to you and all your teammates.
Winning solves everything.
Winning solves everything. You see it in the NFL. A team wins a Super Bowl and guys on that roster will be getting paid more money because they think they have some value or some leadership or some culture aspect that they're going to bring into their their locker room.
Yes.
It's going to be the same thing in college football. It's like when you're pouring into the team, you sign your NIL deal. You're like, all right, I'm committed to this university. Pay me 4 years, $8 million. Yeah, there's going to be new kids that come in that break that barrier, that you can't sit there and look around and check other people's pockets, because then it's just going to piss you off and you're chasing it for the wrong reasons at that point.
Right.
The mentality that you have playing college football, man, you get paid well now. I hate it. It bothers me a lot because, again, it's like I hate faulting the kid because in my brain, he's not mature enough to know all the ins and outs of it. These agents, the people, his counsel, he has bad counsel. These guys who are money hungry, it's like, hey, you should be getting paid more now that you're in the playoffs, and you talk that into the player, and then all of a sudden he's not the most mature kid yet. So he doesn't know. He's going to lean on people who he trusts.
You don't blame Nico in the situation. You blame the people around him that have influence in his life, because there has to be a level of work ethic. There has to be a level of buy-in, any level, high school, college, or NFL. I agree with everything you just said. This, from a Tennessee standpoint, like, is your team better or worse now? You're probably not as good as you were 48 hours ago, 72 hours ago when he was on the team. But the culture of your team in the long term is going to be better off because of it. Nico has made a short-term decision for more money, then the long term is going to affect him. When he goes to the NFL, guys are not going to believe him as much. Hey, if there's another dollar, if there's another shiny toy just across the fence, you're going to be a type of guy to go get that. If I'm an offensive lineman and that's my quarterback, I'm heated. I'm pissed because at the end of the day, you like to believe, we're not in college football, and this is a totally different world than you and I were in, but you like to believe that everybody in that locker room who's wearing orange is all striving to win a national championship, win the SEC championship, and make a big run in the playoffs. So when a guy goes, I want $1.6 million more, when you put up 2,600 yards in the past year, 19 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, like, you're not, sorry, well, it says 5 right here. But you're not that guy. Like you're like, I get it. You can make more money. Everyone's getting more money. Listen, when I signed my second contract, I was the highest paid offensive lineman in NFL history. 2 years later, I was barely breaking the top 10. And you could sit there and be like, oh damn, I want more money. No, it's like, you have to be grateful for what you get in the moment you are. Because every single time somebody gets paid the most, I promise you, maybe a week later, a day later, you see this with the offseason this year. Max Crosby, highest paid non-quarterback in history. Like a week and a half later, he's like 5th. Like, that is the way the game goes. It's about timing. But legacy seems like it doesn't mean as much to these guys anymore. And you want the buy-in from the players and the culture and the team. So shout out Heupel. I think that's a huge long-term win. It might affect you guys this year. I
was nervous with or without Nico because we lost 4 of our 5 starting O-linemen, our 3 best receivers, and Dylan Sampson, SEC Player of the Year. So we have a lot of holes to fill on our offense. So I'm wondering, if I put myself in Nico's shoes, if their part of him was like, I have lost a lot of talent on this team, so I'm going to ask for more money because, it's the best situation for me financially because we might not be as good this coming year. So maybe he's thinking just for the future, but I don't know. It definitely falls on his camp. His father, who's a scumbag, all of a sudden he's nowhere to be found on Twitter anymore, and he was talking all this shit. His agents, part of me feels kind of bad for Nico. I don't know whose ultimate decision it was. I mean, I'm not a Nico fan anymore. He very well could go down as one of the most hated Vols now in history. And I feel bad for that kid because if it was a majority decision based on his camp and not him, obviously he has the final say, but yeah, it's just, you just want kids to play.
I'm just thinking too, it's like $2 million. You're realistic with the body of work you just had to where if you're going to go in the market and try to command more money. But it's like, if I'm the player and your body of work doesn't show that you're satisfied with that body of work, at the end of the day, it's like, where's your mental at on like wanting to pour into the excellence on the field in training and everything to get better? Because when you look at your bank account and you're making $2 million, it's like, you have everything you fucking need. It's like, bro, we were in college and we were getting more than the people before us. I'm getting like an $850 scholarship check and I'm pocketing some at the end of every month to where you feel comfortable to where
I got $1,250.
It's like you're just all about ball and trying to get better at your craft. I couldn't imagine making the money that these kids are making now. And I understand that there's business to be made and money to be capitalized on. But if you're a good player and you can be a player that plays at the next level and you're in a good spot and you're at a good college and you have everything around you that you need to be successful,
all the resources
and pour into your craft, like you're not at a school where it's a stepping stone. You're not at a D1 AA or a lower tier D1 school to where it's like, hey, you might have you might have pushed the boundaries and got as much as you can out of that. Now you're set up to go to a bigger school to play on a bigger stage. Like, you're
Right.
not in that situation. You're in a situation where you're very well compensated to be as good of a quarterback as you can be. And whether or not you've lost talent, it's like, man, make the guys around you better. How can you expand your leadership? How can you expand your command of the offense, your communication, your throwing motion, all that different stuff? It blows my mind, man. I hate to see it because it's going to continue to be that way.
Matt Rule, I think, had a really good comment on this whole thing. He talked about you can't fault a guy for leaving if the reason why he's leaving is for the right reasons. Like, he's at Temple. He chose to leave Temple to go to Baylor. He chose to leave Baylor to go to Carolina, making these decisions to take the next progression in his career. But you look at Nico, and he's at a top program in all of college football with all the resources you could possibly have around him, with, guys like Peyton Manning who are in that building consistently, with the best coaches, with the best strength coaches. Like, you have everything you need. The next step should be the NFL.
As long as your fair range is getting hit, which
your fair range. And it's like, just hit the middle. And I know it kind of sounds selfish of us to be like, you don't need all this money. Because, he could essentially get hurt and never play another snap in his entire life. That's the kind of game you live with here. But like, $2.5 million in college for me just seems insane. Because you said $850, I was making $1,250 bags. But like,
nice.
I mean, $1,250 felt like every dollar you possibly needed in college. You had a 50cc scooter, you ripped it, you spent $200 at the bar that weekend, and then you're like, holy shit, I got to make this work for the entire month. But everybody's on that same plan. I cannot imagine. Could you imagine going to Bo Pelini and being like, I need more?
No.
I can't. If I walked to Brady Hoke and Rich Rodriguez after, my freshman year of starting, being like, listen, I want X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
I don't have the fucking stones for that.
Yeah.
I had a hard time in the contract negotiations. The agents do the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because the GM, I remember.
The agent's the one that's winning this thing.
Yeah. Because they're taking like 20%.
Yeah.
It's just nuts, man.
And
it sucks, man.
It's not to shit on a school like UCLA, but that is like the top target that they're saying Nico may land at. But you do not know what you got till it's gone. With like leaving Tennessee to go to UCLA and getting to experience that home crowd in Knoxville against Alabama, like, that is not everywhere. You don't just have these sellout crowds.
And you're playing against the best.
You're playing against the best. UCLA's stadiums are half the time, half empty.
It's the other team.
Yeah, and they're playing against these great schools in the Big Ten that they're kind of getting trounced most of the time. And it's like, was that worth an extra? Because they'll probably, match whatever he was getting at Tennessee, or if not, a little bit more. But it's like, is that worth it?
I know. Because you'll be hearing people, schools make billion or like all this money and coaches leave. And to me, like, it's like ball players who talk about that. I feel like they tasted a bitter part of the business to where they just want the athlete to maximize as much as they can. It's like, oh, coaches get to leave, coaches get to do this. It's like getting to listen to even Coach Lanning. Like, some of these coaches, it's like the grind that they get to where they get positioned that way. But even when they're at a spot, everybody's so committed to the excellence there until you get to the offseason or until something happens. It feels like in Nico's world, things were even unfolding in the middle of the season, which again, that goes to the structure and the leadership of the NCAA because there are no guidelines right now. But it's like that mentality is it's not a successful approach to have. Like,
no, it's not a sustainable
with life,
mentality.
with everything.
Yeah. That'll come back to bite him in the ass. Yeah. He might get paid. He might go to UCLA. Like, I hope no disrespect to the UCLA Bruins, but like, that's not a program that comes close to Tennessee. Not even close.
They beat us last year too.
I forgot about that.
At the moment. We'll get there. We'll get our lick back this year.
You see this news with Nico, and then you starts on Thursday or Friday, and for them to act like we talked about, act quickly in making their decision, Heupel in Tennessee, but then the next day, how many quarterbacks around the country hit the transfer portal? It's like all the ones that are like, oh, maybe I'll go out there and maybe play at Tennessee. Like Florida State's quarterback's in the portal right now. So it'll be interesting what happens throughout this week and how fast
might work out better for Tennessee.
I hope.
For sure.
Long term, no doubt about it.
You might go get like a freshman with 4 years of eligibility who's a stud.
Mm-hmm.
And then like what Jack was saying is like get through this year, and then next year you have two quarterbacks that are dueling it out, that are like good quarterbacks.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting. I wonder how fast a decision will be made on either side, Nico, Tennessee, whatever it is.
I think they say that when the portal opens up the 16th to the 25th.
Yeah, 2 days.
Yeah. So I'm
That's
sure
going to be
they'll
a
make a decision
crazy
in the next 2
9
weeks.
days.
Portal opens up just so random.
Random.
Oh, portal open.
Random.
Oh, shit,
Yeah,
I'll
man.
make a portal open.
You got the winter window, which is crazy. It's like that's right before the playoffs even start.
It should be after the playoffs.
100%.
Yeah.
Should be after the playoffs. And yeah, they should have, I mean, the college football scheduling in general, like it should end January 1st. Like play your championship weekend and then play the playoffs the next week. Have your bye week and then go and then Jan 1.
You just got to start structuring it like such a professional level.
Yeah.
You kind of have to.
Because it is kind of just a bunch of puzzle pieces that don't fit together right now.
Yeah.
You need a little bit more balance. And then what is the NCAA anymore? What is, because we couldn't
Payton
have,
killed them.
Yeah,
these guys are
he did
getting
a good
paid.
job breaking all that down too.
Commish, Pate.
yeah,
Pate
Pate's a
State.
stud. Other news, college football. Was it Kyron Lacey? Unfortunately, it sounds like
Yeah,
died from a
that's
gunshot, self-inflicted wound. This kid had a lot of things happening. I think he was possibly involved in a hit and run. A lot of things coming down his
Yeah.
pipe. I don't know the full story. I will say this, like whoever knew him personally, his family, loved ones, I hope they're doing all right. And we're thinking about you because it's hard. I mean, his teammates, everyone who he's been around with is being affected by that right now. It's tough for college football. And it's just important. It's important that we focus on the guys' mental health. We focus on guys being responsible. And, this NIL stuff, like if you're going to put this much money in front of kids that are 18 to 22 years old, like let's put some good guidelines and some good parental guidance around these kids to make sure that they are taking the best step forward, not only in the short term, the long term as well. So heart goes out to them and their family.
Yeah.
All right.
Oregon Spring Tour. It was a blast. Shout out, no free shout out.
You got anything to say though about Oregon Spring Tour?
Yeah, man. I've replayed that play in my head all weekend long. Like I'll set Rue up. Having Rue, I had her in the driveway and I was trying to teach her how to hit me on an option route. I was just trying to feel that moment again. What
guess right every
sucks
time on
about
her.
it, man? I'm standing there with JP and the boys right before talking about he's gonna want to beat me inside. There's gonna be a crowd. There's these running backs. They want to beat you across the face. I just have to guess, and I'm gonna have to guess inside. And the fact that I fold. I mean, I folded.
Yeah.
Like let's just call it what it is.
Yep.
I melted under the lights.
Ran the flag out.
Ran the flag out. Was feeling it. The
Lights
boys
got
on
too
defense are dapping me up. And I'm thinking in my head, don't get beat inside. And the moment he does a little short motion and he starts approaching me and I start approaching him, it's like I folded. Like there's no running from that moment. I folded. My legs got wide. I reached. I didn't do anything that I was talking about doing. And I did. I folded. And I was bummed because I was hyped to fucking make a play.
Are you going for redemption for the rest of the spring tour or no?
I have to.
You have to.
But now I'm thinking in my head, I'm overthinking. I'm like, if I'm gonna do another one-on-one at Michigan, like I'm already thinking in my head, is this kid watching tape? Oh, he gets beat on the inside. He's probably gonna sit heavy on the inside. Do I route him up on the outside? Now I'm starting to think.
Yeah, you're overthinking.
So I'm starting to play a different
and
game.
you're getting in the same position you were before, paralysis by analysis.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to beat a dead horse here, but what we talk about when we were walking off the field? What was I upset about?
I can't remember.
I'll tell you.
Yeah.
But
And-
I do
and
know
we-
it hit home.
Take the
And
coaching.
You were right.
Take the coach because it's not about you getting beat. It's about how you got beat. You said I had to guess correctly, but you did not guess. When we go into Michigan tomorrow, we fly to Michigan tomorrow. There'll be a practice tomorrow. There'll probably be an opportunity for you to do a one-on-one. I don't give a shit if this guy goes to the inside and you jump to the outside. I don't want you to make a fast decision. That's all I care
You
about.
can coach fast decisions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can coach fast decisions.
But
And
I can't coach when you freeze up.
No, you can't do it. And I think it's going to go a lot better for you in Michigan. I think it is.
I'm ready. I know that. That's all I've been thinking about.
How's it bad?
I'm starting to feel it. I'm starting to feel my back now.
We're gonna
Better
be
or worse?
No, it doesn't feel good.
Okay.
we're gonna have like 25 spring tour stops for Will to get his win.
Yeah, I'm just gonna have to start traveling the country.
Yeah.
Furman, we're coming your way.
Dude, yeah, that was. You look cool though.
I felt good.
You
man.
look cool.
I felt ready.
We got to get you a dark visor.
Fuck,
We got to get you a dark visor in Michigan.
Yeah.
I texted. So I will say this about Oregon. I don't know if you can beat the access that Oregon gave us. I don't know if it's even possible with Michigan and Nebraska. I did send a couple of videos to Dave Abloff,
Nebraska, you know it's possible.
and I just said, listen, they opened the doors for us. I can't wait to see what Michigan does.
Did he respond?
He responded and said, what size do you and Will wear? So, and then he talks about a cheerleading outfit for Will.
So he's aware of a possible one-on-one?
Yeah, I told him I want the one-on-one. I told him I want the Bryce Underwood quarterback challenge. I basically just said, this is what we did. We want to do this, and we'll see.
I'll tell you what, there
We'll
was
see.
there was a one-on-one I did win that week.
We're bringing up that now, huh? Yeah.
Right
You talking about after 7 hours in the car on a plane,
Yeah, I
Get
was
out of
there
the
too.
car,
I was there too.
hungry.
In the middle seat.
and it was a run fit. But yeah, you got me.
Here we go.
You got me, man. And I will get mine before it's all over.
You also saw the goat out there too.
Yeah, Marcus.
Dude.
That interview will drop next week. These two with Coach Lanning. Marcus coming out next week. Awesome conversations.
Incredible.
And again, shout out to Oregon. And the back problems more so come from working out with the team on that first day. Like getting to mix it up with the boys. They weren't necessarily doing a recovery workout. They were doing a let's get right workout.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was in there. What's Bryce's last name? Betcher. Bulldog. He is a bulldog.
Yeah.
A specimen. You're trying to keep up. There's one time where it's like, hey, I need to take off this 45. Like the low back
Ooh.
is. I am starting to feel it a little bit.
Dude.
But he was all about it. You're around some. They're an awesome football team.
Awesome football team. I will say I have never experienced an offensive line the way I experienced the one in Oregon. The camaraderie, the vibes, the
What was it?
energy
The
from those
love
boys.
circle?
The love circle. Yeah, they finished their walk through practice. The coach is like, "Hey, come to our love circle." I'm thinking, what the fuck am I about to walk into? They all just dab each other up. Every single one of them have their own handshake, and they all just sit there like, "Yo," basically just tell each other they love each other.
Just compliment each other.
Yes, compliment each other. I go in the meeting room and the coach is talking to them, and there's like players having conversation during the coach talking. And I'm thinking to myself, like where I come from, back in my day, you talk in the corner, you're getting your ass ripped. And it's just one fluid conversation. The boys are all dialed in. I will say, Lanning's like, hey, we got this kid, Isaiah Worlds. You know, strength coach comes in, which, by the way, the strength coach at Oregon, he needs his own fucking movie. Ah! I
His
love this
energy
shit.
is
I love this
unmatched.
shit.
Yeah.
But they're like, hey, we're gonna have you work out this Isaiah Worlds kid, like, you know, small ankles, big frame, blah blah blah. They're kind of hyping this kid up. I'm thinking to myself, buddy, I'm 260. Like these cats are 60 pounds more than me. But I went there, I threw some weight around.
You were throwing it up.
I threw that fucking
said,
weight
"Bro,
around. I threw some weight around. I let them know who's who. I might be 33, but I might still got it up top. Definitely not below. Definitely.
They knew
not
they were
below.
asking Taylor a lot of questions too, which is cool.
Dude, so curious. Those guys, yeah.
That part was cool.
Yeah, how they're like, how did you do this or that? Like, even when we were at practice the next day,
Dude just comes up
Dude,
to you, hey, what do you do here?
yeah, how do you get out of your set faster? And which I love that question too, because I had myself a couple of little nuggets.
Yeah,
Just
you
getting in
can-
your
One of your
stance.
strengths.
You can see you were dialed in when it comes to like actual like, hey, how do you do with your feet kind of thing? Like you were this is what I did, and then you can like the players being so locked in on you was actually like really cool to watch.
But I got like multiple DMs from those guys just being like, hey, I appreciate you just coming out and helping us out. Like it is. And then we just had the conversation about Nico, right? And that went the way it went. And then you go to Oregon, and these kids are like hungry for knowledge.
Yeah.
Their culture is incredible at Oregon. So yeah, that was it was cool to sit there, and I told them all, I was like, listen, you have to know your body type. You have to know your strengths. These are my strengths. This is what I did to, like, you know, highlight those a little bit. It might not be for you, but this is what I did. And they were about it, bro. It was
Love
awesome.
that.
Heard you had a 9-minute speech.
Yeah. I was starting to get into TED Talk range.
Kind of messed up. Kind of fucked up what they did to you, Lanning.
No, it was necessary.
necessary.
It was
you would've gone
not
forever.
from my experience.
Oh, buddy, yeah. Like,
Dude, I was
I'm sitting there and I'm watching them. Their eyes are locked on, and you get to where you're just not thinking about where you're going in a speech. What do you got, JP?
The whispers in the back sometimes.
You don't want to know this. You don't want to know this. We're not gonna say it.
Did you film his speech?
Oh yeah, I filmed it. It's in the vlog. I'm trying to figure out if I'm trying to figure out right now if it's 9 minutes. If we need it to be 9 minutes
Yeah.
in the video.
You probably cut it down.
Yeah, I cut it down.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, there's something
You can
there
have
with
some
that.
fun. You can have some fun
There's
editing with that.
something there
though.
with the calculator approach. I
Right.
just got to dial in my points.
Oh no, that was great. And I mean, it truly, like it's tough to cut down because you were hitting so many great points. The only parts that got long was just when you went back into the install.
Yeah.
Because you're like, this is the install y'all need to know, yada, yada, yada. Hammer down the point. I'm like, dang, he just crushed it. Now, when I was doing it, I was like, oh, snap.
Oh, shit. Here we go. Landing him with this.
When Lanning hit me with that, I was starting to go into my weekly breakdown. Like my structure of the weekly. Like, how do y'all watch film?
The worst part, when Lanning told him to wrap it up, Will goes, Coach, you got something?
He's got a big smile. He's like, you got
a job to do.
Yeah. I was like, oh, okay. Fuck the peace. We want war.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Hey, how much of a homie is Lanning?
Dude, he's the best.
He's the best, man.
There are people there all around, not just Lanning, all of them. They're very accommodating.
Yeah.
Treated the boys well.
Matt, Tyler.
Yeah.
Just the homies.
What a squad, man.
Boys, we interrupt this episode to ask you, I have a simple question for you. Are you fumbling the ball when it comes to getting a confident, clean back in your end zone? Make the right play call an audible, and switch from dry toilet paper to wet extra large dude wipes. Why? It's simple. Wetter just cleans better. Dude wipes are wet and extra large, so they clear, never smear your rear. So when you got to go number 2, be sure to bring the number 1 product in clean. Dude wipes, the GOAT of cleaning your keister. Available on Amazon and at Walmart nationwide. Dude wipes, best clean, pants down.
Let's hit shout out, no free shout out. Let's bookie.
My shout out, no free shout out this week is going to go to, have I shouted this out before? Late night gas station trips.
They are hitters.
Yeah.
They are hitters. Like after the kids get put down, I go down. I look at my wife and be like, okay, I'm going to go hit the gas station. If it's a weekend, you get you a tall boy Bud Light. But if it's a weekday, if it's a school night, I'm locked in on the Bay coconut drinks.
Fine.
But you just take a nice little, break to where you go drive to the gas station. It's dark out. You're listening to some tunes. You might call your dad or brother or somebody on the way home and catch up with somebody. But late night gas trips.
Nice.
That's a good one to add to the playbook if you're a dad out there.
I love it. Shout out, no free shout out. House full of kids. Not just your kids, but when Will came over this weekend on Saturday and Rue and Scotty were over here playing. Scotty was kind of just laying there, but you know how it was. Rue was playing. And then the neighbor girl, she comes over and the mom comes over and I'm just kind of sitting in the living room. I look at Will in my head. This is kind of what it's all about. And you're just hearing all these noises of laughter, maybe a little fights going on over here. One kid's trying to get your attention. You're like, okay, how do I divert them back to the kids? But they're all just having such a great time. And that was I was sitting there like, man, I feel like I'm doing something right.
Full
having
house,
a household like this. So shout out, house full of kids.
Anybody, any other shout outs?
Kind of off your shout out, no free shout out to gas stations that carry the limited edition drink flavors of whatever brand we're talking about. Because I went into Casey's off 51st. The selection was so incredible. They had these 3 Gatorades I had never seen before. They had an orange lemon lime combo flavor. They had a midnight ice, and they had this third one that I never had. And when I go to the gas station, I love trying new things. And a lot of times, a lot of the gas stations don't have new things, but Casey's did. So shout out to gas stations with the plug with these places.
And Casey's, they got some good pizza.
They have it was just a great overall great experience. Yeah, the ices were incredible too. I got an icy.
A staple in the Midwest.
Shout out. Obviously, got to shout out Tennessee Vols and Josh Heupel. But my main shout out is to Chiba Hut.
Oh, nice. Good pull.
A really great sandwich spot that apparently is a chain, and we have one in Nashville. But the boys did it twice in a row in Oregon. It's actually the reason that me, JP, and Mitch did not make our flight home. But absolutely worth it. And dude, just shout out to a good sandwich. I've shouted that out before, and I'll do it all day long. Sandwiches are my favorite food. So
yeah.
Sandwiches is number 1, man.
Just has to be. But yeah, go Vols.
I'll shout out, no free shout out, just impromptu plans. Last weekend, I was out with one of my buddies, and I've said it before, I'm training for a triathlon in June, and I haven't really started running yet. And my buddy was like, hey, there's a 5K this coming Saturday. You want to do it? And I was like, not really, but I will. So I ran a 5K Saturday morning. It's kind of sucked. I ran my pace was a 9-minute mile. Not at all where I want it to be, but
I think that's strong.
At the end of it, I was like, you know what, that kind of sucked to do, but it was fun. It was cool. So shout out impromptu plans and just kind of, all right, yeah, I'll do it.
9 minute mile for not running, I think, is a strong start.
My goal was to not stop and walk at all. And there were times where I'm like, I just want to walk right now. But
Yeah.
I ran the entire time. I wasn't really running all that fast given my time, but I have a starting point, and it's just going to get shorter from there. So, yeah.
Let's fucking
Love
go,
it.
Mitch. I love it.
Shout out, no free shout out, movie theater dinners. Going to a movie on an empty stomach and just housing a large popcorn. Maybe you get the hot dog. Maybe you get the nachos. I personally like to throw a little jalapeno peppers on top of the popcorn. It's just so freaking good, dude.
Get you an icy to cap it
Yes,
off.
a Slurpee. Oh, yeah, dude. Well, and I was shitting the whole movie. That's a whole other story.
You're divorced now too, right?
I'm divorced now. I got hit up Sydney Sweeney. Shout out Dude Wipes. But yeah, shout out, no free shout out. Movie theater dinners.
Nice.
I'll hit a little shout out, no free shout out. It happened yesterday. I went to one of our friends' 1-year-old's birthday party. Walk in by myself, look around. I'm like, I don't know anyone here. There's tons of kids. Like, this situation sucks when you're just kind of floating by yourself. Everyone's in a conversation. But walked out to the back. All of the dads and other men at the birthday party are in the back watching the Masters. And so I just weasel my way through, say hello to the host. Happy birthday, little dude. Lock in with the fellas in the back, have a nice cold Bud Light. But shout out, no free shout out to the men at a birthday party that understand the assignment, getting away to the side, let the kids do the thing, the wives all do their shit, whatever's going on, and you just kind of hide in the corner, watch sports.
Dudes being dudes.
Yeah.
Let's fucking go.
It was terrifying. Walked in, was like, oh shit. I'm gonna have to talk to people.
Yeah. So what do you do?
Yeah. It was tough, but
Beautiful.
Shall we dive in?
Dive in.
Dan Lanning interview. Everybody enjoy. Big hugs, tiny kisses. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel. Leave comments along the way. We love you. Here's Dan Lanning. Quick interruption. Burt Kreischer tour dates. July 18th at Winnipeg, August 9th at Halifax, August 23rd in Spokane, Washington, and August 24th at Calgary.
We're rolling. This interview is brought to you by the one, the only Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Bud Light is always brewed with 4 simple ingredients for clean and crisp taste. Bud Light is official sponsor of the NFL, the NFL Draft, Tight End University with Bud Light partner George Kittle, the UFC, and Shane Gillis' 2025 tour.
Shane.
Bud Light partners include Peyton Manning, Taylor Lewan, George Kittle, Will Compton, Baker Mayfield, Emmitt Smith, Shane Gillis, Post Malone, and Dustin Poirier. Is there anything else I have to read? Let's get this interview started. Coach Lanning, how are you?
Fantastic.
Yeah?
Yeah, doing great.
You were putting us on game a second ago. You were talking about this book, The Game.
Yeah, you need to read it.
Yeah?
Need to read the game.
And it applies to life,
man.
relationships,
Life. Yeah.
recruiting, the whole thing.
All of it. You need to check it out.
So there's a little sandwich technique involved. I feel like you're a little hesitant to talk about
I
it.
didn't know we were
Yeah.
off script. Now we're going on
Yeah.
script. I mean,
That's the thing about
there's a
Bussin' with
great
the
book
Boys.
called The Game. I don't get to use it. I'm happily married.
Happily married. However,
Happily
you
married.
can use it in other parts of your life,
100%.
like recruiting.
Yeah, 100%.
When it comes to recruiting, first off, facilities incredible.
Yeah.
Like I want to get
And
into
only getting better. You saw there's some building going on over there.
half a Billy out there in the back door, just getting
That's
all
right.
strung
Shout
up
out
right
Phil
now.
Knight.
Shout out Phil Knight. Shout out
Phil
Nike.
Knight.
But obviously, I want to get into the day. I want to get into the process. You being as inviting as you have been, but when it comes to like recruits and getting guys to travel into basically a secluded area,
Yeah.
like it's once you guys get guys in this building, it's like it's very obvious how you like get these types of recruits. How do you get these guys to come from, the southeast area, come over the north?
Yeah, I mean, buddy,
the
we
northeast
had
area?
an 8-hour travel day yesterday.
It was actually 12.
Yeah.
Like we left at what 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
And didn't get to our hotel until 11 Pacific time.
Yeah, you guys picked the wrong flight.
Yeah.
Picked the wrong
Sounds
flight.
like it.
But what I'll tell you is in that moment, that time you're traveling, what built up? The anticipation. The whole time you're sitting here saying, how good is this about to be? And you get here, how's it been?
It has been incredible.
Elite. It's
Yeah.
elite. And I always talk to guys in recruiting. It's really simple. Am I picking best or am I picking most convenient? Right? If it's about most convenient, right? I'm from Missouri. You're from Missouri. You would have been to Southeast Missouri, right? Like it's not about most convenient, right? You would have been over there at Arizona State. Who knows what it would have looked like? It's about picking best. And what Oregon provides is one of the best opportunities in the nation to get developed, get recruited, be a part of a program that's unbelievable. And that's what we look for. It's not about the easiest. It's about the one that makes the most sense.
He's good.
He's solid. You can tell he looks in the mirror. He has his whole entire script.
No.
He's got stuff.
Maybe not a
jotted down.
script, but he believes, he's convicted in what he's saying.
Yeah.
I believe in this place. That's for sure.
One thing I've noticed, you gave us the opportunity to go sit in some meetings, and I sat in the offensive line meeting room, and the coach is talking to the players like people. Very rarely in my career did I ever get spoken to like a human being. It was like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, obviously this is the technique. What do you have on this position? No, that's not the verbiage we use. We use this verbiage. It seemed like everyone was just having a conversation while figuring out the details of what went wrong and how they could do better. Is that something you preach to your coaching staff? Because it feels like when I walked in, there were some guys like talking in the corner, some older cats. And I'm thinking to myself, you're about to get your ass chewed out. And he was like, hey, you guys got anything? I'm like, yeah, we were just talking about this. And it just seemed like the back and forth between coach and player seemed more on like an equal level as opposed to this totem pole of like, I'm better than you, I'm the coach.
No, man. How many snaps am I going to play for Oregon next year?
Zero.
It doesn't matter what I know. It's about what your players know and what they can execute. So, there's a lot of negatives that surround what people talk about, like the portal and how that exists. The truth is the portal is revealing a lot of character of programs, right? And here you have a relationship with your coach. There's connection. You feel like you can talk to this guy about stuff beyond football, right? And I think that relationship is really important. It's not coach-player, right? It's coach-player. And that's the guy that has to go execute. That means he has to love the guy that he's playing for. He's got to believe in what we're doing. How do you create belief? Guys want to know the why today, right? 20 years ago, we would have ran through any wall, whatever the coach said, and I'm not trying to run gassers after practice because I did it wrong. Now it's not about like establishing fear. It's about just establishing a true relationship of this guy's making me better. He's making me improve. And if I have a question, I better ask it or I'm going to mess it up on the field. And our guys, they certainly feel that here.
How do you instill that culture, like transitioning into this NIL portal world where you came from the Bamas, the Georgias, and everything else? Like, how do you continue to pour in the culture the way you want it done while also knowing that it's like there's some cat and mouse with the NIL stuff that happens? It feels like 24/7.
Yeah, it's all part of the deal. I think we're just really open and talk to our players about it. Ultimately, to be a successful player, you better love football. Right? You better be infatuated with the process, and you can be unbelievably taken care of in college and now in the pros if you attack that every single day. But everybody comes here with talent, right? What are those separating factors? What makes you better, right, than the guy next to you? And, we showed a clip of Gino the other day, just wins his 12th national championship. And he's talking about the standard of performance and what practice has to look like to be able to compete at the highest level in a championship. Because what's going to happen, that standard in practice has to be here because you're going to fall down a little bit at the level of competition when the pressure is so high. So if you practice here all the time, you're never going to reach that standard. You're never going to reach that level that you want to be at on game day. I'm going to turn it on Saturday. It doesn't work like that. And our guys have bought into that process. They've bought into wearing full pads at practice, to thud and to tackling, to being physical, right? And you have to be in level football to be a part of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they bought in, but they're in little groups, I promise. I feel like, man, we got to go full pads again.
Oh, yeah, they say it.
You're talking like once you get into like
once you get in the dog
everything.
days of training camp, it's like, my God, we really got to do this.
It takes what it takes.
It takes what it takes. But the NIL thing is so interesting to me because we never had to deal with any of that. I would have died if I was even had the availability for NIL. And you also talk about the player coach. Was that always how you operated with your players, or did the NIL kind of change some things up where like you kind of massage a little thing for some of these guys so they don't just run off to the next big shiny thing?
Play the game.
Yeah, I think something I learned early as a coach is that every player is different, right? I've been around coaches before who says, I'm going to coach you all the same. Like the reality is you're not getting the best out of the player if you coach everybody the same. So for me, I feel like this world has kind of revealed character, not necessarily the other way around. And for me, I've always coached the guys different. I'd coach Bo Nix a little bit different than Dylan Gabriel, right? I'd coach Tez Johnson a little bit different than Trayshawn Holden. I just think that's how you get the best out of people, right? Some guys you can confront right there in front of them on the field, and we certainly do that, right? Those are the fun ones, right? And then some guys you got to put your arm around them, and it looks a little bit different. I don't think it's changed the way that we coach here. I think it's heightened the awareness of being prepared for the next moment. Like what could happen if this doesn't go right? A guy had a bad day on the practice field. Okay, what's your reaction as a coach? And trying to be proactive rather than reactive in those moments.
Talking about being reactive and proactive, take us into the mental of Dan Lanning when you're down 34-10 going into halftime against Ohio State.
Ooh, tough, man. Tough. And I think the easy thing in those moments, especially afterwards, is like, let me make excuses of why. Right. But if you're a growth mindset guy, right, if you're wired like we are here, to me, it's like, how do I make sure this doesn't happen again? Right. You got to learn from that moment. right? And as rough as it is. Now, on the same note, in the middle of the game, what am I saying? Hey, I remember Georgia-Alabama game earlier this year. It wasn't close, man, and those guys came back in the second half, and we certainly played a lot better in the second half than we did in the first. But I'm that guy that I want to fight until there's, no time left on the clock. So that's the mindset. When you leave that game after the game's over with, you're like, okay, how do I make sure that doesn't happen again? Ohio State is an unbelievable team, really well coached. Coach Day did an unbelievable job this year, but they're going to have a ton of guys draft. They had a lot of success. So we had a lot of guys go on to the next level. There are things that they did in that game that we didn't prepare our players well for, right? And that's the part. Like, can you take the medicine? Can you figure out what didn't go right? Right. But if you're wired the right way, right? We're watching Houston the other night and you're watching, Coach Sampson's been coaching for a long time. That guy's deserving of a national championship. How hard he's worked. He's never touched it. It shows you how hard it is for it, to get. Like, so hard to get. But if you're motivated the right way, those moments, those are growth moments. That's a chance to say, okay, I'm going to go improve.
Yeah. Did that medicine last a little bit longer? Just
that medicine. I wake up every night about that medicine. Like, before we struggled early on beating Washington and when I first started here, and we were able to get over that hump, right? We were able to beat them this past season. Right now, I wake up thinking about that Rose Bowl game and didn't do it the way I wanted to do it. So it motivates me, right? It makes me hungry to go back to work.
If you take it like you took accountability. It's like, yeah, we weren't ready. We didn't have our guys prepared.
Yeah.
Now that we've made that very clear, do you think having that long of a break for you guys hurt you at all?
Yeah, there's certainly. I'll never make an excuse, but there's certainly things that you'd say, okay, how would I do this different preparing for that moment? It's a lot different when you're playing a game every single week. And I think there's a lot of things that college football is still trying to figure out. There's a reason the NFL playoffs are the way they are, right? There's been a lot of people doing playoffs for a long time in a lot of sports. It feels like we just decide we're always going to do it a little bit different than everybody else. And it's like, how about we just follow the model that exists? It's a pretty good model.
Right. The model is play the championship weekend or the Big Ten championship, or don't even have the Big Ten championship. And that following week, have your bye weeks for the first couple of seeds and then go on. Get
to play the next week.
Right.
But yeah, having a long break, I've always been an advocate for football season should end. College football season should end January 1st. That's when the next semester starts, right? If that means everybody starts week 0, I've always been an advocate of, stay in a rhythm, play on Saturdays, right? Let's finish the champion. Why is championship game on a Monday? Like those are things I don't completely understand, but I'm sure there's some dollar signs behind it, and it is what it is.
Was it difficult, like knowing that you had 3 weeks off on how to go about the preparation?
Yeah, I mean,
and when you look back, it's like, what are things that you might mess with differently?
Yeah, there's certainly some stuff that I'll tweak. I mean, I won't get in the weeds about what we do different, but I met and visited with a lot of people on, hey, how would this look? But it was the first time for everybody. Nobody had experienced a college football playoff like that before, and there's some things we'll do different, in the future. But you adapt. You put the best plan together you think makes sense. And then you adapt and adjust based on what wasn't good.
Is there a piece of you that blames the University of Michigan for waking up that giant, beating them 13-10?
No, I blame Oregon, man. We didn't take care of business.
You see them. They kind of really opened up the playbook after they took that loss 4 years in a row, by the way, if any Ohio State fans are watching, to Michigan. And then all of a sudden, they were like their hair was caught on fire. They were hot. They got hot. And a piece of me really, truly feels that they wouldn't even got past Tennessee if they were just beat Michigan the way they should have beat them. Care to comment?
Yeah.
There's a piece you wish they would have knocked a late game-winning field goal early in the season, so that way maybe the motivation or momentum would have shifted.
No, man. Yeah. No, a piece of me wishes we won.
Is there a piece of you that feels like it was a bit of karma because you continue to keep scoring on Michigan when you played them in the big house?
No.
And then and you want to pretend like I didn't hear that little shot you took in front of the team today, too.
What are you saying?
I won't say what it was. You've been very gracious.
We're all competitors, right?
We're all competitors.
You want to win every single time you step on the field.
But you did say, there was somebody here that played for University. You saw what we did to him this year. Very light, very comical, great timing. You got a good group of boys that laugh.
Take shots, man.
Yeah,
small leg.
It's nice. Balls. Do you ever wish the shit talking could just be allowed? Like, there's obviously an unwritten rule. Like, you're like, Coach Day, he coached a hell of a game.
Right.
There's a piece of you that's like, listen, we fucked up. It really wasn't you. It was us. But you know how the media works. Like, you go and say that. It's like, you kind of wish you could just get the boys in the room and have a little chatter. You're a banter type of guy.
I got a little juice when it comes to that. Yeah. Here's my thing. Does it help you win football games? Right? If it doesn't help you win football games, then I don't care. But do we all enjoy talking a little shit sometimes? Yeah, I agree.
When it comes to pivoting on that a little bit is, you see a lot of players, for the most part, football, when players take the podium, we're playing a good team. They have 11 guys that can go, blah, blah, blah. They do some unique stuff. There's a playbook for every time you talk to the media. Yeah. But then you see a guy like Kenny Dillingham who lets his quarterback be like, I'm the fucking best. And Bo Scatabo is like, I'm the best running back in the nation. They're going to find out. Like, do you think that's going to hurt Kenny in the future, or do you think, you should
Shout out,
kind of
Kenny.
stick to,
Yeah,
dude,
just
I love
specifically
Kenny.
talking
Kenny's my
about.
boy.
Do you
We went
think
to high
that's a
school together.
bad move
Right.
for
Do you
Kenny?
think that's a bad move for Kenny?
Here's what I would say. I think what Kenny's figured out, and here's the reason he's having success down there at Arizona State, is you have to be you. Right? Every program's different. Like Mike Leach, way different from Nick Saban, but both really successful coaches. Kenny's figuring out what works for him and his team, right? You know, I'm not a big believer in trying to give the other team ammo, right? But you know, sometimes that happens, and I say that, and we have. There's people out there that don't like us, right? And that's okay. But you have to be you. That's what you have to be as a coach. People recognize that.
I get it.
Last time when we sat down, we talked a lot about your journey, like the 13-hour drive and the way you went about the interview and the trials and tribulations that you had during that part of the journey. We were talking with one of your boys at lunch, and he was kind of giving us the skinny on your route to, by the way, congratulations on your extension.
Oh, thank you.
That's
Appreciate
big
it.
Time.
Thank you. Appreciate
Some
it.
new money. New money, new house,
bag.
new problems, right?
No doubt.
But Doug, can you talk about your GA days? Because my man's telling us intel, like you were making like $6,000, $12,000 here. You're going, you finally get a gig to where you're coaching, you get a position coach, then you take and you're making like 60 grand there, then you take a massive pay cut to go be a GA and get your master's degree at the University of Alabama. Do you ever just sit back, bro, and think about that?
All the time.
And think about like the moves that you had to make and the sacrifice for the family. Like there was even chatter about you guys were shopping with like food stamps.
Yeah,
Is that real?
100%. Yeah. What's
You're
weird,
walking into a grocery store.
well, you had the card.
You had the coops.
Okay.
You had the card. You had a card. You had a card, an EBT card.
And you're coaching and you're shopping with
Yeah,
food
my
stamps.
wife hated when I would make her be the one to go shop for groceries because
She'd make you do it.
But when like a benefit of that, when I'm at Pitt, we have that card, and you need to use it each month, right? Or the money is gone, right? So I remember I had the whole scout team when I'm at Pitt over at my house, and we had a heck of a dinner, right? Using swiping the card, man. So like I think back to that a lot. I feel so unbelievably blessed to get to do what I do, and the place that I get to do it and who I get to do it with. But none of it would have happened. What I always think about is what if I didn't do that, right? The pain of regret, versus the pain of discipline. I always chased opportunity. I never really worried about how much I made. God always made sure we had enough to take care of the house, and we never really wanted for more. Like we felt like we had what we needed, and now I'm always sitting here saying like, what if I didn't get in that car and drive to Pitt? What if I didn't go to Arizona State and instead run back to coach high school football in Missouri? What if I didn't leave Sam Houston State to go be a GA for the greatest football coach of all time, Coach Saban? And around that table, some of the greatest coaches, in college football: Kirby Smart, Mel Tucker, Mario Cristobal, Billy Napier, Lane Kiffin, just some like unbelievable people that I got to be around. I wouldn't be where I'm at today. So super rewarding, man. It's a crazy path, but super rewarding.
How long were you in the coaching game before the opportunity to go to Alabama happened?
Yeah, so I coached high school ball 3 years, right? Then I went to Pitt for 1 year, and it's kind of some small stops. So I was Pitt 1 year, Arizona State for 2 years as a GA, and then Sam Houston State 1 year, and then Bama. So I'm not a math major. I was a PE guy, but you can add those up.
Sounds like close to 5 or around 5.
Man,
or
hey,
6.
but that's incredible.
And then Bama was still a GA, right? I was making $1,200 a month and 3 kids. And
I was going to say, and you had a family, not just a wife. You had 3 kids.
3 kids, yeah.
And then, yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
You what I realize now is a lot of that was really selfish. Like everybody wants to be able to be like an unbelievable dad and an unbelievable husband, and you want that, but you also want to elevate. You want to move up. And the selfishness early in my career, there was a sacrifice. My family, that was a big sacrifice. What I figured out now is how I can balance that, right? You can have both.
Mm-hmm.
But to get here, I probably couldn't, right? There isn't balance, right? To get here.
When you're having those kids and you have $1,200 a month, like, was there ever a point where you're like, maybe this isn't for me?
You certainly have doubt at times, but what made it work is my wife was always on board, right? It always made sense. And what we did is anytime, like I went to Sam Houston State and we were making a little over $60,000 that year with 3 kids. So we saved. Like it was always in our mind, like let's plan for the next time we have a hardship, right? And like going broke, like I owned a house in Pitt, in Liberty, Missouri when I went to Pitt. And this is when the housing market crashed. So my wife stayed in Kansas City with Caden and Niles. We just had, Niles. And we tried to sell the house. Well, we couldn't sell it for what we owed on the house. So what happens to the house? Foreclosed, right? I think going broke early in my career was like a great lesson of, hey, this could happen again, right?
Yeah.
Right. And you kind of figure out, what do I need to live on, not what do I want,
Or are you coming home from Sam Houston with just all the to-go boxes from what the
Absolutely.
what the kitchen made?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
100%.
Yeah, whatever
Waters,
you can get your
Gatorade.
hands
Just
on.
got the bags,
That's right.
everything.
Absolutely,
Sweetheart, I'm
man.
bringing it home. Don't even worry about it.
That's right.
Late nights,
As the
early mornings,
coach
but I
would
got the
always
food.
coach would always look at the players. Family's going to be eating good tonight.
yeah,
right.
get out of there. You mentioned going broke early in your life is almost it's a good thing.
Blessing, yeah.
Because you get to learn how to save, how to do all those things. Now you're living in a world where these players are making a shitload of money.
Right.
How do you instill that type of discipline on them?
Oh.
Because it's got to be so hard. Like guys come from whatever part of your life they come from, upper class, poor, everything in the middle. Once you get some money that's yours, not your parents' money,
Right.
but yours, it's like, I'm going to get this car,
You're
I'm going
young.
to get this chain, this, that, and the other. And when I was walking around here today, I saw a couple of chains. I saw a couple of nice things.
Yeah.
But I didn't see anything over the top where it seems like these guys have good heads on their shoulders.
Yeah, I think that our guys are pretty savvy. They all make mistakes, right? But I always tell them in recruiting, look, man, you're about to be taken care of. I don't need you to walk in this chain that says Taylor on it. We can just have a T, man. It doesn't have,
Forget the other 5 letters.
Right.
Let's
Let's be smart. So I think the education piece, we spend a lot of time on financial literacy here. We bring people in to talk to our guys, and they have to feel comfortable having those conversations with us. I'm visiting yesterday with Bucky Irving. I'm so proud of what he's done in the NFL with the Bucks, but we're just catching up, and he's talking about, hey, here's the great decisions I've made so far financially, and how he's able to put some back, and he's taking care of the future. And I think some of that's from lessons learned here. So you hope that you're teaching those lessons. And then sometimes a mistake is a great lesson, right? Some of these guys will make a mistake, but you want them to learn from it and build from it so they can have a long-term future because of it.
Have you ever seen one of the boys drive something in and you got to
Oh, I definitely have taken car keys before. I've definitely, it's more about
let's talk about
how are you driving, right? It's more about how are you driving, what are you driving? But there's certainly conversations had, right? I think there's always buyer's remorse with some guys that make a poor financial decision, and they realize it usually down the road, right? But you got to educate them in everything. It's not just football.
What's been your biggest splurge?
Yeah.
Since your new money has happened,
I bought a vintage Bronco, 1974 vintage Bronco.
Come on now.
It was one of those ones where I didn't realize what it cost, right? When I was like, yeah, I can afford a Bronco, right? And then you figure out what it costs.
Yeah.
The guy that got one before me was LeBron James. And then I realized, wait a minute, how much is this?
Yeah. So you went to vintage Bronco.
Yeah, vintage Bronco.
My wife has a 74 Wimbledon white one from Vintage Bronco as well.
They're awesome.
Unreal. With
I
the
love
Coyote
it.
engine in it?
Yeah, they're awesome. And the guy that actually makes them, Small World, right?
Cho's his name, right?
Yeah, Cho.
Yeah.
He went to school at Oregon.
No way.
Never knew it. And then, I was at Georgia, we kind of, I was following the Instagram page, and I was like, okay, that's the someday.
Yeah.
Maybe get one of those, right? You come out here and we get connected, and end up getting one from him.
They've got a cool setup because I think they get their parts from Ford themselves.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times when you do these resto mods, you're kind of putting pieces together where
Right.
they maybe shouldn't be. With them, we've never had a problem with the Bronco at
It's
all.
been out. It's been awesome.
Yeah, and I have this weird dream of having only older cars that just turnkey drive every single day.
Right.
The Bronco does. My truck, my '77 F100, it's every couple of months. So I'm calling you and being like, hey,
It's not working the way it's supposed to.
I got to Uber home now because this car X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, Bronco's been great.
The Bronco's great, man. They got a great setup there. We went down there. I tried to give them cash, and they were like, "Listen, the price is the price."
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not getting a deal.
I
here.
tried to too. I literally brought cash, and I was like, "I'll give you."
And
this
then they told
right
you
now.
everybody that buys these buy them in cash.
Yeah, and I was like, "Yeah, you're right. I'm gonna get the fuck out of here." But they hooked it up, man. That's awesome. I'm stoked for you. So you have it now.
I have it. And I'll show it to you guys later on.
Yeah.
yeah, you
No.
will.
What
I'll
color?
It's actually like gray. I don't know what color gray you'd call it, but
Did you do the 4-door or the 2-door?
2-door.
You thought about that 4-door at all?
It was before. I don't know if it was even an option yet at that point
Really?
when I got it. It might have been.
Mm-hmm.
But
We'll
yeah,
get
I'll
to
show
see
you.
it though. We get to go have some dinner at the spot.
Yeah, check it
Get
out.
to see the man cave.
That's right.
You got a
Yeah,
little
how'd you get it set up?
You got a sneaker collection?
I got some sneakers. I got a couple sneakers. I'll show you a few. I'm not a 14. I'm a 13.
Yeah. I'll tell you what though. I walked in with some not Nike shoes today.
You got heat on now, though.
Got an ass chewing, and you were like, "Come in my office." These are unbelievable.
You got some heat on, man.
Yes, and I know you were like, "I'll try to show the inside of this." I think it's this one.
Yeah, the story's unbelievable.
This story's really cool. Do you mind telling the story?
Yeah, just Nike partners with Dornbecker, which is a children's hospital here in Oregon, and these kids they design different logos, different themes, and they have a competition.
That's awesome.
Right, and after that competition, they pick the winner, and they actually end up creating the shoes. So some pretty cool gear that's made there by Nike with an awesome purpose.
you guys are connected with Nike, man. I mean, what an unbelievable spot that you're in.
No doubt.
Let's talk about the day. How's it been having the boys around?
There's a little bit of like juice in the building, right? You guys brought some juice. I love that Taylor came down and immediately rips his shirt off. Will went kind of like, hey, man, these moments go fast. Was a little sentimental. You could see his heart. I'm not sure if he was tearing up a little bit. Like you could see it. Taylor comes down, rips his shirt off, and says, "Let's go to work."
Yeah,
right.
Let's go to fucking work. You told me about this Isaiah World kid. Looks great.
Yeah.
Big build, blah.
How was he in the weight room today?
Phenomenal.
He was good.
He was unreal. I do want to get back to Will's speech in a second, but I will mention
we don't have to sit on my speech.
The offensive line, that group of boys, it's a very unique group.
It's one of
They're
the
screaming and yelling the whole time, getting the fuck after it. Like I like 15 ooses. I'm white, but I'm getting the oos call, their chest bumping me and shit like that. I'm feeling myself.
So one of my favorite things in the world, we have a pool at our house. Those dudes come over all the time in the summer and they take over the pool. And we have these rocks right by the pool. They'll jump into the pool and they shoot this like volleyball up in the sky. I don't know if you've ever seen it happen, but they bring their own boom box, right? They got the music rolling. It's a special unit. Our offensive line is a really special unit.
And I talked about that meeting room too. Like it was like, I felt so uncomfortable because it was so awesome. I've never experienced anything like that.
How do you think you would have played in that environment?
Yeah, I would have had a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I would have had a lot of fun, but I would have been one of those guys that you had to bring me in and like rein me in a little bit. Be like, hey, you got to calm down. Like we do have to get some work done.
Yeah,
because I'm like a give an inch, take a mile type of guy.
Yeah,
when it came to like having the ability to like, have fun.
That's right.
Like, hey, you can have fun. I'm like, oh, we're having all the fun in the world, and then you're like, well, we can't have all the fun in the world.
Come back.
Yeah,
come back.
But that was a good group. And when you called us down too, because you gave us this morning, what was it, like 7 a.m., 6:30?
Yeah,
something like that.
An introduction.
And you put the whole thing up, and it was like your heart's kind of pounding, and you're like, yeah, we'll have you guys say a couple of things for the team. And I know how you were talking about it. I was feeling the same exact way. Where
I'm thinking we're coming down together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't really give you a lot of heads up.
Yeah,
it was good though. Yeah, like you gotta.
You guys do a podcast. How often do you like? Hey, that didn't work. I gotta start this. You got to be right on, like on your toes, right?
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of multiple takes. Not a whole lot.
One take for a team meeting, man.
Yeah,
one take.
But my thought process is too, like when I came down to give the speech, is like we do funny content. Like we do social media, we have the podcast, we bust balls, we have a good time. But every time I feel like I get in these environments where I'm around the players and I'm around the football team, you want to give something that's like you get back in like the ball mentality.
Right.
You think of the nostalgia, and when I'm talking about like enjoy these moments because they're going to be gone one day. Like we get to do something so fun, and something that we always talk about is like college football. Because in high school, you run around, you're playing, you're having fun. Like everybody's the best on their team. Right. You don't really know what you're doing, but you know you're executing. You think you're an NFL player.
Right. You think you're the best.
When you get to the NFL, it's all business. Like if you don't play well, you get cut, you get fined, you do all these things. But the commitment to a team and where every guy is on the same page, you don't have that at the next level. You do it in certain aspects and in certain areas, but it's a business at the end of the day. Like the camaraderie and again, the sacrifice for like, that championship or coming in trying to get that 1% better. Everybody's on the same board. And usually it's like by the time it goes, it's gone. Right. And then you're just thinking about it in the rearview mirror, but then like, man, we had such a hell of a time. So that's why I was like, I'm trying to like tell these, I'm like,
it's a good story, man.
Like, boys, enjoy this, man.
Did you know you were going to do that when you were walking down? Because I felt like you were taking a minute to walk down.
He walked slow.
Thinking about what you were about to do.
Once the words came out of his mouth, do you have some words? That's when I knew Taylor's not coming down, no one's coming to save you.
Yeah, that's the moment.
If you're going to give a few words, because I get long-winded with speeches, but if you're going to give a few words, like what would be a message that you want to get across to them?
And it doesn't help that JP was sitting next to Will being like, you nervous? Like, what are you going to say? You going to be all right? Like, definitely getting in Will's head. But I'm also hearing being like, I'm fucking nervous. What am I? Like,
well, anytime, even as a player, when you're speaking in front of the team, when all these chairs are filled up and you're speaking in front of your peers, unless you're like the head coach or like coaches who are talking in front of them all the time, like you're getting checked. Like you're getting put in a situation to where that speaking is the most nerve-wracking speaking that you'll ever do in front of your teammates.
Well, picture something right now for me. Right? You're in front of a camera. Do you realize, like, picture all the people that are going to watch this and they're sitting in a chair too, treated
You're right, but it's like those,
so different, though.
It would probably be 1 billion people that watch this episode.
1 billion.
1 or 2.
Like they're like, that's inside the camera. Like they're not sitting here around you to where, again, it's like that elevation.
Maybe you just need to pretend you're in front of the camera.
No. Yeah. No, you're right.
But all those eyes, like I've like public speaking, I think we've both done a handful of stuff.
Yeah.
I really don't get nervous public speaking, but whenever it's football players, I feel like I have like an obligation to say something either profound or get the juices flowing. And if I don't do one of those two things, I've like let everybody down.
You feel like they're the best in the world at like spotting a phony?
Yeah, because in
They
football,
are.
it's,
I mean,
it's so easy to see authenticity and not.
Yeah.
It's so easy to see it.
And like we've sat in these chairs, and when coach would have speaker come in and stuff, and you know which ones that you're into and which ones you're not,
Yeah.
or which ones that you might be surprised by.
Right.
Right. We did the rookie symposium in 2014, and there was I'm not going to say the player's name, but he came down. He's a Hall of Fame player. And he spent 45 minutes talking to us about how good he was. Where I'm just like, bro,
can you help me be better?
First off, I don't want to be here anyway.
Right.
Like we all want to go home. We just finished OTAs, but he's just making it all about himself. And anytime like you have this opportunity, it's like, how do we talk to you guys to where it's like, yeah, we've been here and we're willing to help you, but also like it's about you, not us. Because like our story, Will and I's story is already written. Like whether we can be proud of it, we can have
brother. What are we talking about?
Football, our playing days.
Yeah.
Of like literally be getting between, getting inside the lines and putting a helmet on and getting after it. Like it's over. It's done. Right. Like now it's all about you guys. And that's one thing I really appreciate about your boys as well as, like Will came in with the sentimental and I was like, well, there's no point in going sentimental. You have to bring the juice. So we liked it a little yin and yang. But a bunch of your guys were coming up to me solo, just asking questions. Hey, if you could tell yourself one thing different when you were in college, what would it be? Mine was like party less. And then the one kid's like, I don't really party. I was like, okay, then let's try this, do this. But like, there was like 4 or 5 guys that intentionally came up and like wanted to learn something because they thought I had some sort of value to give them.
Sauce, yeah.
And that's awesome. It's awesome that there's like a certain curiosity here in Oregon.
No doubt.
That guys actually want to get better. And it says a lot about the culture.
Yeah, it's good.
And Taylor's having this conversation when we're in the tubs too. Like we did for everybody watching.
Fellas were in the tubs.
We did the full thing. We did the team meeting.
They got recovery.
Yeah, they were getting recovered. We did the team meeting. We sat in the special teams meeting. We did the offensive defensive meetings. We went down and worked out with the boys, which by the way, trying to be young again is a tough gig.
Not easy.
Who was the boy you're with?
I'm working out with Bryce, number 28. Yeah.
He was drafted in baseball.
Dude, he has a hell of a story.
Yeah, he
walked on at both.
Yeah, great story.
Yeah, he has an incredible story. Drafted in the 13th round, but he's a bulldog in the weight room.
Oh, yeah.
But he's stacked. He's got the shoulders. He's got the neck. He's got everything.
He's got Compton College vibes.
He's trying to throw on all these extra plates. And there was one point where I'm like, hey, let's go ahead and strip this off. Like my low back's starting to. You gotta be worried about that stuff when you get older. You get removed and you realize like you just don't. You're a shell of yourself.
Yeah,
you're immortal.
These kids want to see Will Compton. They want to see the greatness.
Yeah.
And so you gotta put your back in a vulnerable position in order to produce for these young kids.
I kept up, but it's one of those things I know when we walk in tomorrow and do practice, I'm gonna be feeling it.
Yeah. Better get ready.
Yeah.
The linebacker meeting room was fun. I put on my coaching hat for a moment.
Yeah.
I had to tell coach, I said, hey, can we go back to the last clip? I'm like, hey, the backer down here, how can you help out your fellow mate up top? It was like a 3-by-1, but speed was outside. Speed was at 3.
Yeah.
The back was deep in a far set, but he goes behind the quarterback and flares out to the 3 side.
Yeah.
And the backer up top, who was like man on the number 3, he had tunnel vision. My man wasn't even looking in the backfield. So he could help himself out by looking in the backfield. But the guy who's blitzing down at the bottom, like, hey, how can you help out your fellow mate up top? Let him know that the back is deep. And when he flares across, you guys are already anticipating it. You're not reacting to it.
That's right.
So just in case one day when I exchange the microphone for a whistle, that'll be my interview for you.
Stay ready.
Yeah,
I like
stay
it.
ready so you don't have to get ready, man.
That's right.
That poor linebacker coach is done. He's cooked. He's Will Compton waiting right now.
He's like,
placeholder.
that's a great point.
Yeah.
That he harps on it again.
I mean, that was nice, right?
Great.
Part of you that juiced you up a little
Yeah, I
bit.
get excited. A little 3-4 exchange.
But in the inside backer room, like you got like that room,
communication
is what it runs through.
And in the NFL, I'm glad this has transitioned down to college now. You want green dot guys.
Yeah.
Right? You want guys that can get everybody on the field lined up. Like
Yeah.
That's your job at linebacker. So super important.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed you guys have is a lot. I'm not going to get too much into it because it's a little bit in the weeds, but like you guys have a lot of verbiage.
Yeah.
Do you guys just have a lot of verbiage right now because of spring ball and you kind of like tone it down a little bit when you get into fall?
I mean, some of these things will later on become one-word calls or things like that,
yeah.
right? But right now, we're throwing the kitchen sink at these guys,
Right.
And it'll be the same thing in fall camp. I want to always go into a game with enough weapons, right?
Yeah.
And be like, all right, where do we need to navigate? Where do we need to adjust? And it's really both sides of the ball. And then you hope when you get into a game, like you guys know, that scope narrows a little bit. Like, what are the 10 runs that we love? What are the 10 passes? And it becomes a little bit smaller. Same with coverages.
Yeah.
How is it for the mid-year guys? I feel like like this era of college football, there's a lot more mid-year guys that are coming in early.
Yeah, most of them.
I got to meet one of them down in the tubs, Dior.
Dier.
Dier.
Yeah.
Dier
Dior's
Hill.
clothing brand.
Yeah.
Dier Hill.
There he is.
Yeah,
St. Louis guy.
St. Louis guy. But I'm
Yeah.
sitting there talking with him, and I ended up telling him, like, hey, you got a pretty good head on your shoulders, but he just seemed like a sponge. And I'm just thinking,
Yeah, he's
like,
hungry.
it feels rare for a mid-year young guy. He's like, oh, this is my second week here. I'm like, this is your second week here? I'm like, how has everything been? Like, because it's a massive
Oh,
jump.
yeah, you're
coming from
drinking
high
out of a
school.
fire hose.
Yeah.
Hard.
You're
It's
skipping
really
prom.
hard for that guy that he just started because we were quarter system. He just joined this quarter. A lot of guys joined in January, right, where they have a little bit more time for walkthroughs.
Got you.
There's 3 guys that joined us in this window, and it is you're drinking out of a fire hose, right? But
Yeah.
make mistakes full speed, and we'll figure it out.
You have something?
Yeah, with I want to go back to like the speaking in front of the team. How was that for you when you first started approaching, like having to sit in front of like a defensive meeting room or a linebacker's room or a secondary room? And how did you like gain the confidence? Because when you walked in, you were handling the boys the correct way. You were working the room a little bit. You had a couple of nice place jokes. Like you just seemed like you're firing all cylinders. Obviously, you've had a lot of reps at it now. But when you first started, like what was the most difficult part for you? Did you ever have issue with that?
I don't know that it ever really bothered me. I felt like I had a lot of great training. I got to go watch Kirby Smart do it every day. I got to watch Nick Saban do it. I got to watch Mike Norvell do it. And for me, whatever seat I was sitting in, I was always trying to prepare myself for the next seat. You know, I think early on when you have to go talk to a team the first time, you're like writing down every note. You are practicing. You're like, okay, what do I need to hit? Now it's something that you're a lot more comfortable with, and as long as you have a plan, a process, you can hit it.
Back in that first Ohio State game, the 12 players on the field.
Yeah.
Can you talk to us
Genius.
about it? Because I think there's a new rule now, yeah?
There is a new rule. Can't do it anymore. We
Gotta feel
Lanning-
like you changed
the
the
Lanning
rule.
rule.
Wow. Ultimately, you work unbelievable. Like, you guys saw in our walkthrough today, we worked like into game situations. Like,
Yeah.
okay, the difference in 10 seconds left in the game versus 6 seconds or 5 seconds in the end of the game and how your calls are going to change. I mean, you prepare for so many inordinate situations, right? And there's one where you get an opportunity to call a timeout, try to get it, a little bit of an advantage, and time's more valuable at that point in the game than yardage, right? And it worked out, but now it's a different rule, so we can't do it anymore.
How were you able to kind of expose that rule? Like, was that something you came across kind of that years prior, something situational that obviously you bring up throughout the year, but when was the moment where you're able to be like, hey, if this pops up, like this is something where we can leverage this rule in our favor?
I think, Vrabel always did it with like you guys. You're looking for every advantage you can create, right, in football, whatever the rule might be. Like you see a lot more often now. Defensively, let's say it's like a 4-minute situation. You got to get the ball back for the offense, right? There's a 5-yard penalty, right? And now it's 1st and 5. But the reality is you don't feel like you could probably stop a 5. They got 4 downs to get 5. I'm going to just jump off sides, give them an automatic first, right? So we can get the clock back to an advantage for us defensively. So like there's moments where you might intentionally jump off sides. You talk through all those scenarios where a penalty makes sense, where it's better to get a pass interference in this situation than to give up a big play, right? And then you get to a certain level of field. We spend time on those every single week, right? As a coaching staff, some of them show up a lot more often than others, but we have a group that really works with us when it comes to analytics and when's the right penalty to take, what's the wrong penalty to take. And when you have a team, right, that's able to assess those situations, you can attack it.
Do you have like a one guy that kind of really looks in those details for you? Like you brought up Vrabel. Vrabel's got a guy named John Stryker,
Right.
Who
Legend. Shout out John
he's
Stryker.
a legend, but
And
he
his
was the
beast.
guy that would bring these types of situations. And one of the situations that was a rule change after was 2019 wild card game, Titans versus Patriots, and we killed the clock a bunch on punt team because we
Right.
took a delay game twice. And then a false start, and that killed a bunch of time off the clock. Bill
Right.
Belichick's on the other side, screaming his
nuts.
face off,
Yeah.
while Vrabes is quietly laughing and thinking about hitting his jewel after the game.
Right.
So that ends up changing. But Stretch is the guy that brings all that to him. Do you have somebody you're like, hey, I need you to find the gray area rules so we can exploit them when
Yeah,
the
so
time
we
comes?
we have a couple guys instead of having just one guy that's in charge. I've always kind of found it's just like you have a defensive coordinator, you got a co-DC, right? So we have a couple guys that are help with those situations. I like to designate a guy on offense and defense, and then just like overall personnel that's evaluating that, throughout games. And then on like Thursdays, I like to play the game with the coaches before the game. So Thursday's really kind of our last heavy practice. Right after that's over with, we'll throw on a TV copy of a game, right, of an opponent that we're about to play. If we're playing them at home, right, we'll watch one of their away games, right, on TV. And then a lot of those situations will come up. So you're just talking through it as a staff, right? Like, Will, what openers do you like here? And he's calling the offense like he'd call the offense. But now you're also saying, all right, 3rd and 1, we see this as a go. You're trying to make those decisions before you get to game day. That way when you get to game day, It's kind of like smooth sailing. Like, always trying to create those moments in practice. That 4-minute, 2-minute scenario that we had in practice yesterday. Like, we're trying to decide, is this a scenario where we would use our timeout? So our players, if you come and ask them in the room, like, hey, when does Coach Lanning like to use his timeouts? They're like, okay, around 30 to 35 seconds. If we have 3 timeouts, that's where he likes to use it. So now, like, when you step on the field, you know what our temperament's going to be, right, in those situations. You're not, and you make mistakes at practice, but that's where mistakes have to happen. But if we're all on the same page, right, that's where, it becomes advantageous.
And last year when the 12th player one, did the 12th player know what was happening? Or are you like, hey, go stand out there?
No, we call timeout.
Go stand out
right
there until we
before,
say.
Protect the sideline. Just kind of say, hey, it's not one of those ones you're going to spend a ton of practice time on, right?
Right.
We call coverage with inside leverage, and we threw an extra guy with outside leverage to the sideline.
But did that guy, did you tell him? Or you say, hey, just walk out there?
He knew in the moment, but didn't really know it in the moment.
He didn't know situationally
you don't
why you were
practice
doing
that every
it.
single week. It wasn't a lot of clarity.
So I want to see if Vrabe had one like that too, where it was like Josh Kalu was on the sideline. He's like, Josh, go out there and stand. Just stand out there by the numbers.
I think he did that against the Colts one year.
Well, sometimes you'll do that. Like, let's say you rather take a penalty, have 12 guys on the field if they're at the 3-yard line, right, and not have a no play happen rather than us being the wrong formation or the wrong alignment or not everybody on the same call. Like, okay, give me half the distance to the goal so we get another chance to stop them, right?
Does a piece of you smile when you get the 12 men on the field call and you feel the crowd like, oh, because you're such a huge part of the game. Like, no one knows what you're doing except for you. And the people that truly know ball, there's like a little smile on your face. It's like, these idiots.
Yeah, and really in the back of your mind, you're saying, wait, I hope that is what we thought it was, right?
Yeah.
You're like, I hope we didn't screw that up, right? But I try not to think about what everybody else is thinking about in those moments.
Yeah. I mean, to think of that in that moment is just, it's good brain thinking.
We got a great staff here.
Yeah.
You're very polished in that regard. Extremely polished. And I mean that as a massive compliment too. Like, you're not a guy that's ever going to take credit. You're always.
I'm not playing in the game.
You're dishing. You're a point guard.
I'm not playing the game. Right? We got great people here. Like, everybody thinks about Oregon and they're like, oh, great facilities, awesome jerseys. All like, really, truly, the people here is what makes this thing different. And I got great people.
Yeah, good group of guys.
We can't run a pod either. Just in the middle of the episode, just shout out the committee. That's all I'm going to say about it. But I just want to shout
out to the committee.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
We'll talk about tonight.
Yeah. I'm aware.
Well aware.
Ish. Big Ten.
Yeah.
First year.
Yeah.
You obviously went 13-0. You won a Big Ten championship, so you had a lot of success.
Right.
Was it what you expected going from the Pac-12?
I mean, I loved everything about it. I enjoy being at this conference. I think it starts with our conference, with Tony Petitti, our conference commissioner. The schools that are a part of it make this a lot of fun. The travel for football is a lot different than maybe the other sports. Like, it's enjoyable, for us. So yeah, it was everything I'd hoped it would be. You got some unbelievable teams, really competitive conference, some really cool venues. I think it's a lot of fun for our players and our staff.
You itching to get the Nebraska game on the schedule?
We have them, in 2 years, right?
Yeah. You dodged.
You're
going to
be there
this year.
We dodged a bullet. Dodged a bullet.
Probably see you in the
Unless
Big
Will
Ten
Compton
championship
dies,
this
he
year.
will be there. We're doing the fall
We'll
tour
probably
this
see
year.
him
We're already
this year.
scheduled the first 2 weeks. I think we're at Nebraska both times.
Yeah, of course.
We said there was
You're
we gotta
basically
hit
on
this
staff
one. We
there,
gotta
right?
hit that one. Yeah.
Yeah, he's basically
When
on
Will puts his
staff.
coaching hat on, it'll be you guys in Nebraska fighting, chomping at the bit.
When
for
you
him.
play NCAA, is that you always play with Nebraska?
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a squad, man.
What was were there any stadiums that you were like really impressed by, underwhelmed by? Maybe
I'm
one
not putting
stadium.
it- No, I mean,
Come on, say who you're underwhelmed.
I'll say it
It's
with
the
you.
boys. man.
It's not the boys.
Yeah, it is the boys. The boys are a billion people.
No, I wasn't. There was nothing that I was underwhelmed with.
Hang on,
Maybe there
hang on. Let me ask this because I don't know where you guys
you
played.
know
Did
where
you
I'm
play
going.
at Michigan?
Yeah, he played.
we
at
played at
Michigan.
Michigan.
Yeah.
It was an awesome atmosphere. I mean, big stadium,
Right,
unbelievable.
But the
Underwhelming.
Okay, no, I'll say it. It's 115,000 people. It's not as loud as it should be.
Autzen Stadium is louder than
Autzen Stadium is
and I mean,
louder.
I mean, you guys experienced it firsthand.
It's okay to say truths.
That's
it's
the
all
truth.
right. Yeah.
That's the truth.
So it's a little
Yeah.
bit underwhelming when you think about 115,000 people.
It's just different. Maybe it's built different. I don't know. I mean,
Yeah, it is built different. It's like a bowl. It's built out.
You like when I played at Michigan, you're like excited to play. Are you guys the biggest stadium?
Yeah, North America, third biggest in the world.
But in college football.
Yeah, North
Yeah,
America.
you guys
it's
are
got to
the
be
biggest
uncomfortable seats.
Like
I'm
you're-
guessing. Like
you're
everybody
there.
cheek
Yeah,
to
it's
cheek.
bench style.
And you're
Yeah.
thinking it's going to be sick to play in front of 115,000 people. But then when the game starts, your brain more so goes to it's cool playing in a tradition spot like this, like a historic place.
There is nothing
Yeah, but
cooler
every
than
time
getting
you
those
played there,
moments.
it wasn't loud because we beat
right.
you guys so
You get
bad.
all like, okay, it's not as loud as I thought it'd be, but it's still sick to play in the big house.
Right. But we also there wasn't a lot to get cheer about because we kind of handled Nebraska when we played.
Yeah, yeah. Again, I wasn't like you to throw that
I
comment
love
back
how
at
he
me
goes
is
like
crazy.
defense.
Yeah,
Immediately goes in defense mode.
Yeah. I'm just trying to stir the pot a little bit.
Yeah, pot
Stir
stir.
the pot. The next year, your senior year,
Yeah.
you guys
You
handle
guys
business?
average
So like
2
this year
yards
we
a
get to
carry.
play at Penn State. That'll be one that's
Yeah, yeah,
exciting.
that
know
one
it's-
I hear-
I hear it's pretty loud.
Yeah, it's
so
exciting.
it'll be a
Very
fun environment.
Nebraska's loud too. I think here might be.
Here's loud, man.
I
Dude,
think
the
Penn
game
State
the
is
game we
louder.
came to with
Ohio State, I think, might be louder because it's more, but maybe not Ohio State. But here I was extremely impressed
Good. We
with
got
how loud it was.
we got a good crowd, man.
Yeah.
Got a good crowd.
Yeah, the students
Yeah.
student section was
They love ball.
Full.
active.
Full.
But what's interesting is we went and got breakfast that morning and there seems to be like nobody, like there's no waits.
Calm before the storm.
Yeah.
It's calm before the
their
storm.
house.
But I feel like everywhere else it's like there's traffic,
Storm
everybody's
before the
out.
storm. Maybe we got great traffic.
Or before the storm.
Maybe we got great
Got great
traffic.
roadways
Traffic
here.
control, man.
Yeah.
Great roadways. You got a plan.
Yeah.
Should we hit the spicy tier talk?
Yeah.
All right, JP's got a question. Do you want to hold the mic?
Oh,
You know the audience would be going crazy in the comments.
If you could spend one day with a coach that didn't coach football, who would it be and why? They can be active, they could be retired, they could be deceased.
any coach basically in the
coach.
history, probably John Wooden.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I mean, Gino, what he's doing right now is super impressive. Right. But Wooden's got a lot of books and a lot of things that, kind of speak to me. Right. The way he coached, how he did it, maybe a little different perspective of the game. So yeah, he's probably one that falls in that category.
He seems like because I love John Wooden's Find Your Broom.
Yeah.
How he's like every day he's the one that's sweeping the gym.
Yeah, sweep the sheds.
And he tells his players, find your broom.
Yeah.
I feel like Coach Lanning is a find your broom coach. Yes,
what's
sir.
been a recent book of yours that has grabbed your attention?
I've done a poor job reading this off season, like post spring.
Because what was the book last year?
We read The Art of War, Sun Tzu. That was one of the ones we
Yeah.
read. That's always classic. That's an easy read. So got to pick up some new material. It's time to hop back into something. I always like the Ryan Holiday books. I'm a huge fan of like the Tipping Point, Malcolm Gladwell books. Like I think they kind of put science behind events that happen in history. I think Malcolm Gladwell is definitely a fun one for me to read.
You talk about the balance. I just want to know that the family dynamic. You talk about all the sacrifices it took to early.
Yeah.
How intentional are you now about having some balance in your life with family and work?
Yeah, so it definitely still doesn't exist, right? There still isn't balance. But when there is, like when we have time, we're very intentional.
Yeah.
Right? Have you guys ever seen the movie Pay It Forward? Completely
time ago,
underrated movie. Kevin Spacey, Haley Joel, I think it's Haley. The guy was in Sixth Sense, little kid. Like last night, we got home. It was 8. Generally, the boys go to bed at like 9:30ish, right? And I said, we're staying up. We're watching the movie. We watched Pay It Forward. They've never seen it. Like I'm the movie guy in our house. So it might be an intentional thing like that. Obviously, we're all sitting on the couch, not necessarily talking. But when we have an opportunity,
But they got their dad with them.
Yeah.
I watched the movie with my dad.
Dad's letting us stay up late, watch a movie.
Yeah, let's stay up late.
And Pay It Forward. Like that's
If you haven't seen it, Rotten Tomatoes has it listed way too low. Great movie. Great movie.
yeah, that's a tearjerker.
He said, I'm a movie guy.
Yeah,
Rotten
movie guy at the
Tomatoes.
house.
They don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, they don't know what they're talking about.
Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they get it wrong.
Did you watch Severance?
I haven't. Okay, so I started. It took me some time here. I'm not caught up. I kind of bailed.
Yeah,
Do I need to recommit to it?
absolutely. But
Okay.
I think in your line of work, it would be really hard to because it's
Yeah,
one of those.
Severance.
It's one of those shows that you have to be. There's so many theories that are going on. Did you watch Game of Thrones?
I did. That was during COVID. That was like convenient.
Yeah, but you know all the storylines that are happening in Game of Thrones, and then all the theories that would take place where you're talking with your boys at work or talking with whoever's watching Game of Thrones at the
Yeah.
time. Severance is like that, so you need to have some dedicated time to it.
The one I liked most recently is the Billy Bob Thornton one.
The
Landman.
Yeah, Landman.
That was awesome.
I've seen a couple clips on YouTube.
Landman
What's that
is
about?
definitely. I anybody that hasn't watched it, Landman's the show to
Check it
watch.
out.
Yeah.
You seen Shorzy?
What's that?
Shorzy?
No. Was that like Jersey Shore? What is that?
Pretty awesome. It's a hockey show.
A hockey show.
This guy named Jared Kizo, he started a YouTube channel called Letterkenny. And it
Okay.
used to be like these common problems in small town Canada. He has a spin-off character in it named Shorzy. You don't see his face because Jared Kizo plays the main character and he plays Shorzy. He's like a shit-talking junior hockey guy, But the episodes, there's only 6 episodes per season. They're only 20 minutes each, so it's a really fast watch.
All right.
And the show itself, it's a decent storyline, but it's very funny, like comedic jokes. Oh, the whole scene is just about one run-on sentence that is just joke after joke.
All right. And what subscription service do I have to have?
Hulu.
I don't have that one.
What you
I'm
mean?
not ready to commit to another subscription.
But you committed to a Bronco?
I did.
Yeah.
I thought about it. I planned it out. Like,
What subscriptions are in the Lanning household?
I mean, we got Netflix, we got Amazon Prime, right? And I got the Paramount because this Taylor Sheridan dude, he just makes banger after banger after banger, right?
Are you a
that's-
Yellowstone guy?
Yeah, Yellowstone.
Didn't you
was
kind of
on.
hate how the last season ended?
I didn't watch the last season, so
You
I
might
fell
as well
out.
just-
I
yeah.
fell out.
Yeah.
You know,
They
Seems
kind of
like
fell off.
He's only committed to his family and his football team.
Yeah.
He's not. It sounds like he doesn't finish one show ever.
I finished Landman. Legit.
Finished Landman.
Like,
you ever
here's what
played-
happens. Here's how coaching is, and you guys know this. Like, you get like all right, you got spring break. I got these like 7 days or 6 days.
Severance.
I could have, right? Instead, I hung out with the family, but I should have. Maybe,
Yeah,
you know,
right.
maybe I should have checked out.
Yeah, but your
Severance.
wife's probably like trying to plan a trip.
So
We're
like
gonna go
those shows
here.
to me are like late night, kids are to bed. I'm gonna hit like an hour show, and you got a window of time when you can do it. If it's spring ball, you don't necessarily have those windows. If it's fall camp, you don't always have the windows to catch a show. I'm not watching a show during football season.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't know. Maybe Yellowstone. I feel like that next season came out maybe during football.
Well, don't waste your time.
Not ready for. Okay, so I won't.
Shorzy though.
Shorzy.
Pop that on. It's an easy watch.
So I'm
I'm not
assuming,
gonna get Hulu though. Maybe will you get?
True.
Can I get your subscription?
I got you.
Deal.
Yeah. I'll
So I'm
hook you up.
assuming you don't play Xbox.
I don't.
You don't play PUBG.
We do have a.
You don't play PUBG
You know
or
what
Red Dead
we're doing with
Redemption.
the boys?
we have a PS5 at our house.
We have a committee.
yeah. We
have a PS5. I think that's what it's called. PS5 at our house. You know, that gets played. I don't really get to play it, but
How old are your boys?
15, 13, and 12.
Oh yeah, so they're invested in the games
Invested.
right now. They play
Invested.
PUBG.
What's that?
Do they play PUBG?
I don't. I
What
don't
games
think
do they play?
Minecraft's kind of big one, and then I think Rainbow Six is that. Is that?
That's
is
up my
that like a
alley.
new-
That's up my alley.
So
I've
for me
tried
before
Compton
it was
and
like
the
Call of
Lanning
Duty
boys.
was pretty hot, right? Is that still a thing? Call of
Yeah,
Duty?
Call of Duty's always hot, but Rainbow Six it's a
It's
great
new?
game.
Yeah.
No, it's not new. It's
Well, I know. I remember there was an old one, but that's kind of like the new-
yeah. They've like built on like today,
Strong.
like this day and age, they're always just doing add-ons.
Okay.
But Rainbow Six is a great game, so tell your boys they're doing it right.
All right.
Red Dead Redemption 2, if your boys are into it.
Okay.
I cried.
Cried during the video game.
I cried.
Or this is
my
a show,
eyes
or is
out.
this a video game?
It's a video
It's a
game.
video game. Should
You
be a
cried
show.
during the video game.
Coach, I was about to say, buddy, Coach, 2020, was it 2? I had my second ACL? 2022. I got my second ACL done. Might have been because I knew the career was over. Might have been a whole bunch of different things, but I had 7-8 days of just me and my wife. And I played this game start to finish. Will was on me about playing the game.
It's a great
I
game.
played this game start to finish. This guy named Arthur Morgan, like just a hardened outlaw, right? You're a gang in Old West. It's like late 1800s, and
Okay.
you're just working through, and you're with this guy Dutch Vanderlyn. And the end of the game. Do you want me to tell you the ending?
I'm good with it. Yeah. I'm
Okay.
Good with it. I feel like I'm never gonna watch this video game.
Yeah.
Think of it, it's like Grand Theft Auto,
he
but back in the
contracts
old Wild West.
tuberculosis. Go ahead and Google it. Back then, they didn't have treatment for it.
Oregon Trail.
At the end, yeah, there you go. There's always a spin back. There's always a call back to Oregon. This guy ends up getting tuberculosis, changes his life in a way, and saves his gang. But you can have like good honor or bad honor, and based on how you treat the game, that's how your ending goes. Buddy, I had great honor, and I cried my eyes out
When he died.
when he died. Cried, took a break, had a snack, ate a meal, went back to sleep, cuddling, bake spooning my wife with an ACL brace on. Re-cried about that situation. That's how intense it was.
Just type in Arthur Morgan death scene, and you'll know what Taylor cried to.
Bless.
I'll give it a look.
Yeah, it's a
Arthur
short
Morgan,
2-minute.
I got a lot of stuff on my list right now.
Yeah.
We'll text it. We'll text it to you.
Shorzy.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
This has been, I really do appreciate you.
We gotta
doing
hit the
this
tear
way out.
talk.
I know, but I'm just letting you know.
Yeah,
this has
you
been
guys are
unbelievable.
incredible.
Well, we love having y'all here, man.
Kid, let me ask you this. What put you on to Bussin' with the Boys? Because I
Bet the
remember-
bus.
I know, but how did you fall?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I probably Twitter or something. I stumbled upon it and then became a big fan, man. Yeah, I just
dope.
enjoy it. You guys are fun to listen to. It's like me being with my buddies that I went to college with, talking about a show. You know what I mean? Talking about the stuff that you're interested in. You guys hit the stuff that's fun.
Let's go, man. That fires me up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I used to work out, and I started probably on podcasts, and I'd listen to you every single week, putting in your picks, and
That's the reason.
He saw his face.
yeah, show's not around anymore.
His show's not around anymore.
Guess the picks didn't go so well.
One of the few listeners sounds like.
But
Guess the
but
picks
this
didn't go
show
well.
killing it. You find your niche. You're gonna. Sometimes your best wins are your mistakes. Right?
Yeah. Well said. Well said.
Dude, I hit him with the row. That is awesome. He bet against Oregon, didn't he?
I don't think he ever picked against us.
No, it was never that. Like, you know,
It was always
I'm
for
always
Nebraska?
picking Nebraska every week. He's like, hey, buddy.
We're never going to be mainstream because we won't ever be unbiased.
Yeah. Boys, we interrupt this episode because we are sponsored by Roe. Let me paint a picture for you. Your wife, she gets done with her nightly, her face routine. You're laying in bed. You're about ready to go to sleep, but the girl's hungry. She's hungry for the boy. And it kind of catches you in a little bit of panic because you want to get him up. You want to get going. You want to get from A to B to C, whatever you need to do to get your boy ready to go. We have that answer for you because it's not always about controlling him. It's just about him getting up, ready to get going fast, hard, aggressive. And that answer is Roe Sparks. Roe Sparks are a 2-in-1 prescription treatment for guys who need a secret weapon against softness. They hit the bloodstream faster because they dissolve under your tongue, and getting hard faster means there's no more waiting time to perform. They work in 15 minutes on average. And Roe Sparks stays active in your system for up to 36 hours, boys. So you can go back to back to back, round after round, keeping the girl fed, and be ready for the morning after. Roe connects guys with a medical provider that is 100% online, so there's no awkward conversation with in-person providers. And if approved, treatment ships directly to your door. And if you are prescribed, new sexual health patients get $15 off their first order of Sparks on a recurring plan. Connect with the provider at ro.co/bussin to find out if prescription Roe Sparks are right for you. That's ro.co/bussin for $15 off your first order. Back to the episode.
Interesting tier talk because it's like the tier talk we're doing presented by Roe is best first moves. So like, I don't know if I even have 3 in my bag.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Even hearing best first moves, I'm starting to shell up because I'm putting myself in that moment.
Right. So tier 3, shell up.
Yeah. Tier 2.
Tier 3, go home.
Tier
Okay.
2, do you come here often?
Yeah. So you're familiar with the show. However, I will explain it away. Tier talk, we're going to start at 3, go to 2 and 1. Because this is a very unique tier talk, we're going to just combine. We're going to have 3 tiers.
Fair.
You say yours, Will you say one, I'll say one, and then we'll order them best to worst. But the first move, how are you going to go? I think I got mine, actually.
Go ahead. I hope you have 2 because you can take
Okay,
mine.
so I think my rookie year, I got on the Tinder a little
Zero
bit.
game.
Started doing the swipe game just a little bit, trying to be a sneaky boy out there.
Never got to experience
2014, 15. But one of my moves was I would, whatever, match with the girl or whatever, and then I would hit him with the DM saying, explain to me your life in emojis. And then they would just send me like 20 emojis, and then I would describe their life to them.
That's smooth.
And then that was my icebreaker.
That's smooth.
Yeah, that's a nice little move, right? Yeah.
Hey, you see Mitch back there? He's ready to go.
Yeah, that's kind of nice,
For
actually.
the listeners out there, that might,
Right, that's a nice little deal.
That's
my
smooth.
old man. He's on the Bumble and all that now.
Oh, is he?
My wife was on his little thing a couple nights ago. I'm thinking, what kind of weird fucking universe am I living in? But I gave him that bag and he immediately did it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, bro. I don't have any game.
What worked on your wife?
Hi.
She didn't just I mean,
I think it would be good, like with the hey, got a little something in your shirt. Boop. How you doing? Will Compton, good to meet you.
There really wasn't like I'm telling you boys, man. Like meeting my wife.
She
I
just
met
bit.
I met her at a football camp.
How'd you meet her?
At a football camp. What?
I thought there was some sliding going on.
No, that was after the camp.
Got you.
So
My
I
fault.
talked to her at the camp.
You know
and
your story better
It's
than
not
me.
like I'm like, what did I say? You going to get pizza?
so that's number 2.
Because we
Going to
number
get
2
pizza.
going to get pizza.
Yeah.
We had a break. We had a lunch break, and there's pizza there. And I'm like, hey, you going to get pizza? And I was like, where'd you get that Pro Bowl hat? And she's like, the Pro Bowl. And I was like, all right. I mean, did you
That's
go?
exactly
So
what
you think
Charles
she
would
just
say,
kind
too.
of felt sorry for you, or
Maybe. But
this is old teeth Will too.
how long have you been married now?
later that night, we've been married 4 years.
There you go.
4 years. Coming up on 4 years. And but later that night, she slid my DMs.
Nice.
Yeah. So I mean, I
liked
who
the Pro
knows?
Bowl
I'm telling
comment.
you, it was not
She
the.
enjoyed that pizza comment too.
And I'm like, okay, so how'd you get? All right, did you go as a fan? She's like, oh no, I cheer for you guys. I'm like, oh okay. And then it kind of festered from there. A little cat and mouse for about 9 months.
There you go.
Cat and mouse for 9 months.
Yeah, it took your boy a while, but
got
here
it
we are.
done.
But here we are.
Tricked her.
Yeah.
Got 2 kids now.
Yeah. Pizza Friday.
That's how it all
where
goes
Pizza
back.
Friday. Yeah.
That's right.
Call back to Pizza Friday.
I'm excited to hear yours.
Yeah, I don't know if it's very good. I mean, so my wife and I, we met at Outback Steakhouse. I was a server.
Underrated.
She was a to-go girl. Absolutely underrated. Kookaburra wings, some of the best wings you can get. Wallaby darn. I remember you could give like the samples of Wallaby darn to your table if they wanted a sample to try it out. I could go get a sample, run to the back, slam it, you know. But you have receipt paper, right? And I would always write love letters like with a call to action item, right, on this receipt paper. So I'd be like, Sophia, meet me by the bread oven at 6 p.m. sharp, Casanova, sign it, right? We'd be serving our tables. 6 p.m. we'd link up at the bread oven, you know, little kiss. I always tried to write like the.
Oh, you get the kiss out the gate, bro?
A little
This
kiss.
wasn't like day one. This wasn't like day
Okay,
one.
I'm seeing
My
you.
wife was definitely hard to get, but I'm like, I mean, I try to be creative with something that somebody else would do simple, right? So like I remember Valentine's Day. This is probably too far away. I mean, this is not but I would write a card, right? And on the front of the card, it'd be like a contract, right? And it's like if you open the contract, you actually see what's written, but it's, you know, hey, Sophia, I'm 17 or 18 years old, right? You know, and she kind of fills it out and then she signs her signature at the end. Then you open it up and it says, Sophia will make love to Dan Lanning 17 times tonight. You know, like try to be creative like, with, you know, how you piece it together. So, yeah, I always try to do that just a little bit different, right? Like best Valentine's advice I can get anybody. It's hard to book a restaurant, right? Hard to book a restaurant. Cook at home. Right? Cook at home, cook for your wife, man. That they will appreciate that. You cook the meal. You're not waiting in line. You don't have to see other people. You can do whatever her favorite dish is. Maybe while you're doing that, you book somebody to give her a massage right there. You know, it's just food for thought. So
Nice. Maybe a
Lenny got
class,
some
too.
flavor.
be creative with simple. Be creative with simple, right? Like my buddy.
What's the go-to meal? If you're whipping
If
it
I'm
up,
cook-
she's
she
like,
likes
she's
sa-
like, you go ahead and cook for me.
She likes salmon. She likes salmon. And for me, I don't like salmon. So she knows that if I make her salmon, like I really love her, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to order salmon. So if I'm cooking salmon for us for Valentine's Day, it's like, dang,
Special day.
special,
Yeah.
right? Because I will never order salmon. I'm a steak guy. I'm never
Yeah.
going to order salmon.
And when you got the roast sparks rolling in you, it's
Yeah. The
It's a
roast
done
sparks
deal.
is like, you know, the salmon's being cooked for multiple reasons.
yeah. Like this thing will be active for a good.
I don't even know what that
36 hours.
is.
Yeah,
What are you
back to
talking
back,
about?
right?
Roast
Roast sparks.
Roast sparks,
It's like a
a dissolvable you put under your tongue.
Yeah.
and it'll be active for about.
Oh,
36
gotcha.
hours.
It
helps you
Yeah.
downstairs.
Gives you juice.
Yeah,
Gives
gives
you
you
juice.
juice.
I don't
Yeah.
need juice, man.
Is that-
I don't need it. I'm good.
it's not about needing it. It's about
It's
just
better?
it's enhancing.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, enhances longer.
Do they sponsor you guys?
Yeah, that's what this segment. Well, we'll have to cut that part, but yeah, this is what this.
My bad. This is the tier.
Yeah,
roast.
this is
Got
brought
it.
to us by Roast Sparks.
God
yeah.
dang, I feel like
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
don't need it.
Yeah, you're gonna have to cut that part out. Need it. I need it.
Yeah,
Got
there
it.
you go. Dude, this has been awesome.
It has been. Bud
Oh.
Light question. Oh yeah.
Bud Light question. You know how people will do anything for a Bud Light. What is something that Dan Lanning will do anything for?
Can't say family.
That's not fair. I mean,
Dale Earnhardt said family, and it was beautiful,
yeah,
but it's taken now.
family's taken. I mean, family is definitely
Number
That's
one.
the easy one.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So,
What's something ambitiously that you would do anything for?
that ring, man. That ring. That's one of those ones. You know, I remember you guys asked Vrabel if he would like cut off something, right?
Cut off
for
his
one of-
dick for a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm willing to go that far, right? I mean, I do have 3 kids. I'm not having any more, but that ring, what would you not do for that? I mean, that's a special feeling, a special moment.
What would you cut off for a ring?
Definitely a pinky toe. Definitely, you know, some.
Would you cut off your middle finger?
Yeah, I don't use it on my left hand.
What about your right ear? Entire right ear?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Ooh.
Why would you not?
I mean, I'm not coaching.
If you were as a player, would you not? I would cut off my right ear.
Cut
Get a
off
good-
my right
good-
ear?
good prosthetic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe like a hairpiece.
It's a good question. I don't know if I
I'm not
would.
vain. I don't feel like I'm like vain. Like when it comes to like, what do I, you know?
Yeah.
I don't. Do you really need your right ear?
I mean, you'll have a gash in the side of your head for the rest of the
Forever.
time.
and it's
Just
a
a
great
hole.
and it's a great story.
Great story.
What'd you
Yeah,
do?
now you kind of
How'd
have
cut
me on
this off
board.
so I get a ring?
Like it's a great story. You're unique.
Would you cut off your entire foot for the ring?
Dude, there's so many advancements in science now. You could for sure do that.
I'd need to evaluate it first. I need to see the advancements. Foot strong.
You could just
Yeah.
wear pants all
Foot
the time.
strong. I'm trying to think of all the things I still want to be able to do.
Right.
Right. And I kind of need my foot.
Do you
Don't need a pinky toe.
do you ever want to be a coach in the NFL?
No. Used to want to. Like
Why did that fizzle out?
I think you figure out, like we talked about earlier, like where do you really fit? Like where's your your niche. And I do feel like this age group is like the group that I connect with unbelievably. And then more than that, like I always think back to, it seems like everybody's always thinking about what's next. And for me, like I'm more of the thank you. Like I get to do this here. Like I can't imagine going to do this somewhere else because of the opportunity that Oregon's given me. And then so often everybody's like, well, I can go do this somewhere. Like I want to do it here. I want to make it happen here because they believed in me. Right. It wasn't like I was a head coach coming from somewhere else. Here I was a D coordinator and hadn't been a head coach. Right. I coached a 3rd grade basketball team in high school. Right. Like, so they gave me an opportunity. Like, why not do it here? So, that's kind of, that's the piece. There's definitely a different quality of life, appreciation. Like in the NFL, they're not, recruiting and a lot of the things, a lot of the hats that you wear. But every job's got pieces that you're not like in love with. Right. But this is a place that, I love doing it.
If you could stay at Oregon forever,
yeah, I'd love to say it's my last job. And like I promised my kids, like when we came here, like you're going to get to graduate from the same middle school, the same high school. Like my kids have lived in 8 states. Yeah. Right? That's crazy. So like now, so for me, it's like, it's not even a thought. Like as long as we win, because if I don't hold up that part, I won't be here.
Yeah.
Right? As long as we win, like I can't see myself anywhere else.
I love it.
Yeah. Coach, thank you, man.
Hey, appreciate you guys watching. Please subscribe, unsubscribe, resubscribe. Big hugs, tiny kisses. And if you're sitting at your desk right now, if you're watching or in your car, just give a round of applause for Dan Lanning.
The committee is right
What
now.
an absolute
Shout out
stud.
the committee.
Shout out to the committee.
Stud.
Appreciate it.